Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker and today is a very special day. We got round 2 of the Lorcana Cross Continental Clash. An incredible match coming up. We've got Artabax versus a prior DLC champion in Federico. It is a fantastic day. It's my pleasure to be hosting. Just as a note to the chat straight away, this stream is on a 5-minute delay, so anything you type in chat, we're going to be keeping an eye, but we may be a little delayed in actually responding to what you say, because we're on a 5-minute delay today. And today, probably the most important thing of all, I am absolutely honoured, delighted to get a day off, my guys. Do you know why I'm getting a day off? Because I am joined by the legendary, the man is on a quest, making his way through the Lorcana ranks to be the greatest star that ever was, and I believe he can do it. We got JDZ Quest!
Yo, greetings and salutations to all the villains out there. I'm feeling quite villainous myself. I'm so incredibly happy to be here in the lair with none other than Baker. And oh my goodness, I can feel the energy emanating through me. The LC3 is back and better than ever. And villain, I had the fortunate pleasure and honor of covering both of these players in the previous round, and I'm telling you right now, if you guys don't know, you're in for a real treat, because these players are absolutely fantastic. Baker, I'm so excited to be here.
If you didn't know,
allowing me a spot in the booth. I do
it
appreciate
is my pleasure. If you didn't know, you're going to learn. Although we are going to already have our first argument of the day, JDZ. LC3, bro. It's so much cleaner. LC3. It's got a nice ring to it. It's perfect. Why are you denying it?
Baker, I'll give you LC cubed. I'll give you LC squared, LCC squared, or LCCCCCC, and just let them know, man, all the C's coming across. But still, whatever you call it, whatever I call it, we know what it is, and we know what it means. It means some fantastic, high-level, quality Lorcana action, and there is nothing better to see the best players showing up, doing what they do best, setting the meta, building these extremely capable, strong decks for people to kind of ride and learn from, and it's been an incredible asset to this game so far. I've loved the LCCC, LC cubed, LCC squared, whatever you want to call it. I think it's an incredible tournament, and shout out to everyone who had a hand in putting this thing together. So I'm here for it. I love it.
I know you are. LC squared, I think, actually has quite a nice ring to it. I could meet you halfway at LC squared.
Okay.
Nonetheless, you are absolutely right. Whatever we calling it, these events, this is the second LC3, LC squared, LCCCCCC that we've ever had. Worth mentioning straight away, this is not an official Lorcana sanctioned event. This is completely fan organised. The biggest of shout outs to one of the all-fathers of Lorcana, like a god amongst us, is the legendary Pavel, and a huge thank you to Pixelball Connect. Also, we've got a huge team, everyone that's involved. We've got judges specifically for this event. Me and you get the pleasure to cast here today, a whole operation. So to anyone that has been involved with the creation of LC3, with running it, a huge shout out to every single one of you. It's going to be a fantastic event. We've got some incredible players, and yes, those two players today that we'll be watching is indeed Artabax, the all-father of EA Tempo, versus a prior DLC champion in Federico. And in just a moment, we're going to go over to our deck review screen, and we've started the stream 40 minutes before. Well, currently it's 40 minutes before the match is actually starting, so that me and JDs can take some time to cook. We've never got to work together, so we want to enjoy the moment, hopefully make it entertaining, make some memories, and of course we want to take some time to look through the deck lists and like just ponder any thoughts that we may have. But I think just about now the stream is actually going live, of course on that 5-minute delay. But a shout out to everyone in the chat. We've already got 30 people. Let's see that rise, and do hit the like button for me. And yes, if you're not familiar with JDZ, I'm sure most of you are. The vast majority know who this legend over here is, but if you're not familiar, here's linked down below. Go and support him. And also I want to give a plug straight away, JDZ. This isn't the only match taking place today. No.
Let's do it.
Tell us what else is happening today, my friend. What else is going on?
We got Zan Syed coming on in. Everyone know who the powerhouse of the sale is, Zan, but we also have another powerhouse at Zach Bivens are going to be taking place this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm telling you guys, make sure you tune into that one. Stay tuned for this one. This is going to be a fantastic match. This is the European version, so we got the Europeans playing each other, and then we have the Americans playing each other, which is supposed to be an NA versus America kind of thing, but NA versus EU type contest. But it seems like we have the EU versus EU and NA versus NA, which is still pretty cool.
That's great.
So Zach Bivens, everyone knows who that is. Zan Syed, everyone knows who that is. Two perennial all-stars of the game, and they will be clashing in and ready to face off. That's going to be on Wonderland's channel this afternoon.
Also,
I'm
link down below.
That, so hopefully you guys are doing that as well.
Also, link down below. I do think the plan, JDZ, is that as we come to the end of my stream, you're gonna jump on. So hopefully we will do a manual raid and a shout out to the Wizard Wonderland with that manual raid that I've just seen come on through. Appreciate Arlial for following through. But yeah, we're going to do one of those as well. And yeah, as we're finishing up here, JD's will start a stream over on Twitch. We'll send everyone over there. He's going to keep you simmering, keep the energy up, and then I think he's going to do an actual raid into Wonderland, the Wizard stream for Bivens versus Zan Syed. And that's actually a game that the first round of the first iteration of the LC3, I had the pleasure to stream 3 of the matches, and I did get a Zan Syed Zach Bivens match, so that I know personally that's some numbers. That is some numbers, my friend. People want to see a matchup like that.
The sheer volume of star power that is in those two matches, the intensity and the power and just the professionalism that both of these players play with is just on a whole different level. Zach Bivens, you know, he has topped so many events, for number 1 seed so many times. And Zan Syed, I had the pleasure of sitting down with him and doing an interview on my channel. It just dropped the other day if you guys want to check that out.
I've bookmarked it. I've bookmarked it. I saw it, but I was busy and I was like, right, I will watch this, so I will get
I'm trying to tell you, just getting into the mindset of these guys and what they think about. I'm like, they're on a whole nother level of play. So it's very captivating to me. I enjoy just seeing what they got to do and understanding how they approach the game. And they're just two players that are on an absolutely different level, just like the players we have here. All these players, if you stood on that podium, if you held that golden Mickey in your hand, I feel that you've just ascended to another level of play.
I have ascended.
You have ascended. You have made it to a different echelon of the game, and your approach and your dedication it takes to get to that point is something that I will always be fascinated by. So all these guys, I'm a huge fan of everyone that is a part of this thing in the LCCC, and we gave our shout outs earlier, but another incredible shout out to all the players, Villain, because they don't have to do this. This does take a tremendous amount of time, and they're not getting a lot back in return. Just the notoriety, just a little bit of honor and prestige of being a player who has selected to do this by the community. This is a community-driven thing. So being able to say, hey, they picked me to do this, you show up and you represent yourself well, I think that's such a huge thank you to all the players that participate 100%. In LC squared, LC cubed as well.
100%. And again, just to everyone that supported it as well, both the first iteration and now we're in round 2 of the second one. Always incredible. Like, I've watched every round, not always live, but I always at least go back and watch them all. Fantastic Lorcana, as you've already said, and these events like draw out a lot of the community. And again, I want to thank the Pavel and Pixelborn and the LC3 in general, and also events like the ICL that are like kind of keeping the competitive scene of Lorcana simmering while we're in this sort of off season when it comes to official events. So a huge shout out to both of those. And yeah, we mentioned Zach Bivens. I've also got to give a shout out to Villain Club. I have a team in the ICL. Shout out to Zach Bivens, shout out to Sky, shout out to Dick Burns, shout out to Whoa Chuck, Villain Club. I will represent at some point, but when you've got a team like that, it's hard to put yourself in. Like, do you blame me? Like, I'm happy on the bench.
On the bench. When you got the star powers going ahead, and they can go out and do great things. You guys are undefeated in the ICL as well. So when you got the star powers going, the star powers there, you can just throw your hands up and just kind of sit on the bench and just clap, cheer, pump your fist and say, go team, go, and be totally fine and walk yourself right onto the championship. I like it. Just be the GM. You don't have to play.
JDZ, 2 things before we switch screens and take a look at the deck list and all the accomplishments for this player. First of all, chat, I am aware when it comes to JDZ and wearing a suit, I ain't winning this fight. I am aware of this.
Okay.
Look at this like sculpture of a man and how good he looks. But I just wanna like be able to like keep up to a degree. If I could just see him in the distance, that's good enough for me. But I had to put in the effort because I want to give a shout out to you, JDZ. It's currently 25 minutes past. So I think half an hour is plenty of time to look at the deck profile. So I'd actually like to dedicate this 5 minutes to you, and I would like to give appreciation to you because, and I know like fight chat will be behind, and let me cook here, JDZ. You can say a piece in a minute, but let me cook. And chat will be a little bit behind, but I know I speak for a lot of them when I say we see your grind, my guy. You've been doing so many of the LC3. You've been doing so many of the casting gigs for the ICL. More importantly, maybe the wrong way of putting it, but also important, I always see, even when you're not involved, I always see you in the chat, like lending support, trying to keep the energy up, talking to people. Your content is absolutely smashing it. You said you've got the recent interview that you did, but this is like your second one of you did one with Ed, right? So I know you've been smashing up the content. I did one with
Ed, DKP. I'm trying to get as many World Qualified players to come by.
The stuff with Phil, the judge talk stuff, rulings you need to know. Basically, the bottom line is that I see the grind, my guy, and I think you're doing such incredible work. And again, for whatever it may be worth coming from me, I just want to say I see you and appreciate you, and do please keep it up. I have no doubt we'll see you on the big stage one day. I've been saying that for a while. I've got the receipts for it as well. I said it a while back, like just saying JDZ would look pretty good on that main stage, and I'm sure it's going to happen for you. But nonetheless, I just want to give appreciation to you. And like again, we've got 4 minutes before we start. In case there is anyone in chat right now that maybe they are new to you, sell yourself in 4 minutes. Like, tell us your story. What got you into Lorcana and tell us the story of JDZ in 4 minutes. Go.
Okay. I can do that. First off, I got to say, these words are very kind. Come from you. You're someone that I do look up to. I believe you are one of the stronger content creators in the market. I just feel like I want to do something more for us US content creators because I don't feel like we're keeping that energy up. You got Spencer, you got Earl, you got the Podcana, you got all these guys, and you guys are just crushing. And I'm like, I just want to make sure that we are trying to do something. I'm trying to do what I can. But for me, I'm JDZ. Greetings and salutations. If you don't know who I am, okay, I kind of got this bug to come into Disney Lorcana. Shout out to Del Bolito. Shout out to the Goat World. Shout out to everyone who has believed in me over there because I come from Yu-Gi-Oh. A lot of people may recognize me from Goat Format Yu-Gi-Oh. I did some broadcasting there, some commentary there. I did content creation there, and then I feel like Goat Format Yu-Gi-Oh can only go so far, and I love Goat Format Yu-Gi-Oh. We spoke about this before, Baker. You're a former Yu-Gi-Oh player back in the day. Yu-Gi-Oh it will always have a place in my heart, but I felt like I want to move on and try a new game with new things and new adventures and new things to explore. Disney is out. Disney is something that also has my heart. I've grown up with Disney. I love Disney. I'm a Disney adult. And you mix trading card games and you mix Disney together, and boom, perfect harmony. That's just where I feel like that's where I belong. So I feel like I'm on this quest to become a better player, to become a better content creator, and I also want to tell these stories of these players who are these incredible players. And I feel like sometimes the achievements and the accolades don't go as noticed as I feel as they should.
I 100% agree. 100%.
Because I truly and like we can celebrate, the LeBron Jameses of the world and the Magnus Carlsons of the world and all the star baseball players of the world and Tiger Woodses of the world. But if you got a guy who's winning 3 golden Mickeys or 2 golden Mickeys or having these things, they don't get any type of fanfare. So I feel like it's our job as media to represent that. And I feel like I'm in a good spot to do that. And that's what I want to do. So that's me. I'm on this quest.
You are on a quest. No, again, just another reason to fall in love with you. And for what it's worth, like, again, I've said this before. Do I want to find my own success? Yeah. Do I like the spotlight? You damn right. But do I also want to, like, if I can help make you famous? Famous is maybe a strong way of putting it, but you get what I mean. It's like I'm a wrestling fan. It's the job of the commentary to make them look like the bigger stars than they already are, and that that they can be. So, absolutely. I love you, JDZ. Keep doing what you're doing. Before we go into the decks, you said you're a Yu-Gi-Oh guy, so I have to take 30 seconds to see if I can impress you with something. Okay, so I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh when it first came out. Like, I remember playing it before there was even a ban list, and I paid for maybe just under 10 years. So do you know enough to be impressed by this?
I am very impressed by that. Oh
Ignore
my
my
goodness.
fingernails.
Is that ultra rare? Is that a mechanical chaser? Ultimate ultra rare 1850. This guy changed the game right here. Let me tell you
TP1.
something about mechanical chaser.
TP1.
That TP1 ultra rare mechanical chaser in a world of legendary in a world of 7-colored fish. Okay, in a world of
Lejeune.
in a world of Lajin, in a world of 7-colored fish, in a world of Axe Raider, okay, in a world of Enraged Battle Ox, 1850. Are you kidding me?
Game changer, mate. Game changer.
That thing was like, I'm jealous.
But
that took me straight back, man.
But it was literally my first actual tournament ever. It was in Reading. Shout out to anyone in the UK that knows Reading. And again, I'm literally going back 20 years, near
20,
enough.
It's 25 years. 20 years. This is almost 25, 20 years. 20 plus years at this point. Yeah.
But yeah, my first ever tournament, there was a juniors and a seniors division, and I was like 12. So I was in the juniors. I won the juniors, so I got a box and then like 6 packs of TP1. My first pack of TP1 I ever opened, my first tournament ever. Mechanical chaser. And I had a crowd around me.
The same one?
The same one. The same one.
No way.
The same one.
No way. That is huge, man. That is so. Did you play it?
Yes, for a short amount of time. It is very lightly played. It is very lightly played. Okay. But to be honest, I'm not likely to part with it anyway. So before we go into the decks, again, 5-minute delay, guys. But I do want to do a very quick shout out to as many names as I can in the chat. We got Wonderland, we got French, we got Samid, we got the Law Keepers in, we got Michael, we got Cameron, we got the Forbidden Mountain, we got Maxelda, we got Nathaniel, we got Michael, we've got Thomas, we have got Jenna, we've got the Zoologist, we've got Jenna, we've got Jared, we've got Cameron, we've got Dare Luminente, probably butchering that, we've got Pete, we've got Nomlix, we've got Dandy, we've got Garrick's Lorcana Lair, I love the Lair me, we are kindred brothers when it comes to Lair, we have got Ali Sweet, shout out to Ali Sweet, I am wearing the Be Prepared bracelet, that is wonderful, she made it for me, gave it to me at Axion last week, shout out to you, and of course the rules of villainy, we got 120 people up in chat, you love to see it, if you have not already hit the like button, please do so, it makes my villainous little heart sing, absolutely sing. JD, what's your favourite Disney film, very quickly?
Favorite Disney Goofy movie, 100%.
Favorite Disney character. Favorite Disney character.
It is going to be Goofy, of course.
I like it. Favorite Disney song. Eye to Eye, free for free.
Eye to Eye. Eye to Eye. Oh no, it's going to be actually Circle of Life.
Circle of Life is a banger. Circle of Life is a banger.
Circle of Life is a perfect song. Circle of Life will outlast humanity. I think that is such a good song. It's one of those songs that will just extend beyond. When our species is gone, Circle of Life is going to be there. But
I mean, quite ironically, right? Quite ironically, it's quite literally the Circle of Life. That's a banger choice. JDZ, we are 28 minutes away from the start of the match, but again, remember audience, there's a delay, so technically for you it will be at 5 minutes past the hour. But nonetheless, let's take a look at our players. So who would you like to start? Who would you like to introduce? Artabax or Federico? Take your pick.
I would like to introduce, I think we have to introduce Artabax. As painful as this sounds, Federico is the champion and Artabax is not. So Artabax is going to be coming in here as the challenger, at least in my identity. So we're bringing in Artabax, the German machine, coming in. He is, if you follow this game at all, if you know anything about Disney Lorcana, you know this name rings out. This name rings out. It absolutely has been an icon of the game since its inception. Okay, typically known playing the Amethyst Emerald strategy, as we discussed. I had the pleasure and fortunate honor of broadcasting his game last time with a good friend of mine, Garrick, and he refers to this player as the master of the mid-range. And I think that's such a fantastic title to bestow upon someone. And it is also very true, because if you look at this player play, he moves these cards around a little bit different than everyone else. It doesn't look the same because he understands tempo probably better than anyone. He understands when to quest, when to exert, when to sing, when to challenge, when to trade up, and he can get card advantage on anyone. So you look at this deck. What do you think about Artabax? I know I can rant. I can talk about Artabax all day long, but what do you think about Artabax when you hear this name, when you see this player, and he's in this tournament playing not Amethyst Emerald?
Artabax is one of my first loves in Lorcana, to be completely biasedly honest with you. I remember Artabax, the first time I discovered Artabax was, and this is on his accomplishment card, at 2 times top 2 in the pack. If you are a newer Lorcana player, then you won't be familiar with the pack. These were unofficial online fan-run events that utilized Pixelborn in its prior state. At the time, these were the only events, like, that we didn't have official events going on at the time, so you could go to locals and things like that, but set championships hadn't even started. So these were, like, again, fan-made, unofficial, but these were huge. Anyone that was interested in Lorcana, you were if you could, you were getting involved in these events. They were getting hundreds of people, and Artabax twice made it to top 2, and there's a few names that, like, had consistent results in the pack tournaments that are listed on their player accomplishment cards. But I remember watching him face the legendary DeCandio. F's in chat for DeCandio, and we send him our best wishes as he goes on into a new journey. He has often dreamed of being a Lorcana dev, and he made it come true. So big up DeCandio. So but yeah, that was such a great match, and I had the pleasure of getting to know Artabax like quite early on in Lorcana. He's such a nice guy. He understands the game to such an incredible degree. He's had incredible set of results. So yeah, I've got a lot of respect for the man. But he, as you said, like you said that Garrett calls him the master of mid-range, which I think is a fine title. I have always called him the all-father of EA Tempo. Just win the game. However, today, Artabax not bringing along that EA tempo that he is so known for, and didn't in the previous round either. And in a moment, we're going to take a look at the changes in the deck lists for these players. But Artabax this time deciding to run Sapphire Steel. Now, before we take an in-depth look at the decks, JDs, I'd love you to walk me through Artabax's deck. But first off, I don't know if you're aware, JDZ, but in Lorcana, there are things known as ancient scriptures. Okay, so Lorcana's actually been around for unmeasurable millennia. Who knows? Okay.
I like where this is going.
It's old, mate. It's super old. But there is evidence to be found out there in the wild, like carvings and runes and messages that were left by the Lorcana elders of old. Respects to the Lorcana elders of old. Respects. And once I knew that we were commentating this game, I was like, well, we got to go searching for some more and see if anything was said about these two players and this legendary matchup. And wouldn't you, Adam and Eve at JDZ, I did find that there is evidence that these players were spoken of in high regard by the Lorcana elders. And Artabax in particular, him running this deck was foretold. As you see here, and it was depicted through rock and stone, and then along came Artabax, and we saw
text reveal.
Yes, and you see him abandoning EA Tempo, instead taking his place as a god, JDZ, and hurling down that thunderbolt. I was meant to turn one of the gospel ladies into a Lorcana deck list picture, but I forgot. But imagine he's one of them. Any reactions to this ancient scripture, JDZ?
Oh, this is beautiful. This makes so much sense now. You know, it's a circle. Okay, it's a circle of life. Back to it again. It's a story as old as a tale as old as time, if they will. Artabax was the one who should have been on Steel all along, and the way he plays this deck, you'd be surprised the fact that he doesn't play Sapphire Steel more, because he plays it at such a high level. And if you look at this deck list, okay, if you have his deck list that's up here from round number 2, or so going into the second iteration, for those of you who have not been tuning into the LCCC so far, just understand that the players are locked into their original deck list, the same colors, but they're able to make changes based on what happened in the previous round. So looking at this deck list, one of the things that jumps immediately off the table with the changes that were made by Artabax, you see that he dropped the hooks, he dropped the Cogsworth, and he dropped the Calhoun in favor of a Chiempo, a Mickey Mouse, and the Magic Broom, which is very interesting. But when you look at it from the outside in, you see that Artabax, he's a smart guy. He's not gonna, and these top players, they understand that you can't just play the deck. You have to play the bracket. You have to play the other person. You're not just playing your 60. You're playing the event. So if I were you, and I'm going to a tournament, I might not take a deck like this, because this deck is carefully crafted for this specific tournament, for these specific outcomes. And Artabax kind of gambled a little bit, flew kind of close to the sun, because there was a 75% chance that he would play a steel opponent in this matchup. And he got the one of Ruby Sapphire opponent that he had to play against. And you can tell that this deck was specifically designed to play against steel, with the inclusion of those Mickeys, with the inclusion of those 2/3 characters that resist the Storm Rage on and the like. So it seems like you kind of rolled the dice, you came up snake eyes there, and it might be a little bit more difficult for the master of the mid range, the Emerald Amethyst god, to kind of navigate through that. But one of the other things I do want to point out before I kick it over to you, Villain, I'm sorry. I'm loving this deck.
Cook. This is a day off for me, mate. Cook.
I'm loving this deck. And I will say another thing that I'm very excited that Artabax elected to do here was something that I thought that these players would do a little bit more of as well. Again, you're playing the bracket. People, and it's open deck list as well. These events are open, so your opponent is going to know what cards you have in your deck before the match starts. So why not try to take advantage of that and put a bunch of one-ofs in your deck that they're going to constantly have to play around? That one-of Mickey is going to be on Federico's mind the entire game, because it can come up at a moment's notice and makes those Mickey Mouse food fighters just that much more potent. Because if he can get a shift onto a Mickey, sing a Zeus, the tempo gain from that is going to be incredible. And he mentioned that in his podcast as well. So I think he's an incredible player, incredible deck builder. Heads up, understanding that you're not just playing the tournament, you're playing your bracket, you're playing your event, open deck list, and trying to maximize as much as you can around all of that, instead of just trying to say, I'm going to stick to my guns, I'm going to play the deck I think works, and I'm just going to roll with it. So super heads up. And I love what I see here. It's going to be tough, because you gambled a little bit and you did get burned a little bit, but you still could potentially make it happen. What do you think, Villain? I'm ranting here. I'm so sorry.
No, do not apologize, my guy. You are a guest, and I want to take advantage of having you on the channel and hear everything you've got to say, and I agree with it all. It's interesting as well, kind of like just a reflection on the meta in general. This new Tamatoa, the 6-cost inkable quest for 2, when you play and return 2 items from your discard to your hand, and if he can quest, then you can play an item for free. So worth noting, like, obviously you think about the high roll with this Tamatoa being, I can quest and get a lucky dime in for free. That's great. But even without lucky dime, like, this Tamatoa questing ability, like, if either of the, if Artabax can get it off and play a free Porpsicle of Fortisphere, great. That's not a bad thing, but it's not exactly a high roll, right? Okay, you got to play a 1-cost item for free that you, by that point, you could probably play anyway. Don't get me wrong, that 1 ink sometimes can be the difference between, like, an extra move you want to make. So I'm not saying it's irrelevant at all, but it's not as high roll as, like, putting a workshop into play for free or a lucky dime into play for free. That's not why we're running it, right? This deck isn't running it because, I'm going to play a free 1-cost item. Just, it speaks to the power of just being able to bring 2 1-cost items back to your hand. And again, the main character here is the Porpsicle and the Fortisphere as well. Amazing how just a 1-cost item that draws a card makes so many cards so much more powerful in and of themselves. Like, it's literally the Porpsicle which makes a card like Tamatoa, or to even the extension Flavisham and Bell, as good as they are. Of course, the Fortisphere also having something to do with it, but if that was the case, then the red-blue decks wouldn't be able to have an easy time with Flavisham and things like that. So there is this sort of, like, rollover effect. So yeah, just a comment really on this Tamatoa, who really is here just to benefit from the first effect, and just how powerful that is to be able to bring these items back to your hand. Also worth noting, the Benja count changed. He was running 3, we've gone down to 2, and we've gone from 3 Tamatoa up to 4 counts, so really valuing those. You've already mentioned the taking away the Cogsworth, the Calhoun, and the Captain Hook. Captain Hook is, like, in the early game, it's good for checking things like Bell, I think is really the best thing about it, all those aggro decks, but I can see why the cut's been made. You mentioned the Broom surviving the Let the Storm Rage on, and yeah, respecting the ability to shift this Mickey out of nowhere and either quest for 2 or sing Along Came Zeus, and even the secondary effect on the Mickey to do a ping for each magic Broom is on the table. Who knows if that is going to be relevant at some point today. But yeah, this is the round 1 to round 2 screen. Let's go back to the main template. Federico making no changes at all, JDZ. This was the list for round 1. What sort of statement does that make? Like, if you see this player as locked in the same 60, what are you thinking?
Honestly, I think that he must feel very comfortable with this deck. He's got to feel in tune with it. The deck did do exactly what he wanted it to do in the previous round. He understands the meta. Again, on the same front that Artabax had, he had to know what he was facing up against, and he built this deck to probably play against a lot of Steel, probably play against a lot of Sapphire anyway. So he's like, why change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it is what we say, in the States. I'm sure you guys have a saying like that in the UK as well. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and just keep rolling and keep riding the horse that got you there. So this deck looks rock solid already. So why make any changes? As Federico Federico Micocci. My Italian is cash money. I'm nailing that, by the way. If he feels comfortable with it, why make the changes? Although that is a bit of a double-edged sword. I think that's a bit dangerous because you're coming in with the same jujitsu that you did the last round. With a player like Artabax, they're going to have that information already queued up, and people could start to counterpick and play against you. So that could have been a dangerous thing to do. However, I don't think you're going to get punished here. You still are playing the Be Prepared. You still got the big Sisus in there. You still got the little Sisus in there. The Sisu and Bolden Warrior, Sisu, Daring Visitor. I'm not Bolden Warrior. I'm sorry. Daring Visitor, and it's that those two cards I think are going to be the determining factor in this matchup, powered by that Sapphire Coil. So it's going to be very, very difficult. I think Federico is in the commanding position, but I did think that last time. I think Artabax does have the skill set in order to navigate through these treacherous waters that Federico can present. But if Federico comes down and he hits those power curves, he hits all of his markers and does exactly what the Ruby Sapphire is trying to do that turn 1 through 6, I don't think anyone can really match wits with that. But if you stumble ever so slightly, you don't ramp. You don't hit the popsicle. You don't get to your higher refills. You're not how far I'll going. I think if you stumble ever so slightly, Artabax will capitalize on that. And your top end game is a little bit better, as you mentioned. So this match, I think it could be, it's still, I will give a slight favor to Federico here, but I think with Artabax's skill, it could be about as 50-50 as you would want. What are your thoughts there? What do you think about Federico? What do you think about his deck? We have a DLC champion in the building. I failed to mention that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, love the analysis, but let's also give the man his props. Federico Micocci. No, you're all good, brother. I don't know if I'm saying the surname right. Micocci, I think, but Federico Micocci. That's probably more accurate. There you go. Nonetheless, Federico, top 16 in DLC Bochum, and the winner, JDZ of DLC Birmingham, the champion himself, and a fantastic player. I met Federico briefly at both of these events, but also a shout out to Law League in Italy. They invited me to go along. Oh goodness, was it 3 or 4 months ago now? It was a bit of a while ago, but they invited me to go along and cast one of their large events, over 200 players. A lot of, obviously, it was in Italy, so a lot of fantastic Italian players, but also Artabax was there, Moyen was there, Harlan Sweet, Adam was there, so some big names, and Federico was there as well, and got the chance to have a chat with him. Super nice guy. So it's great to see him in this event, and he won DLC Birmingham with Ruby Sapphire, so this is an in combination that he knows very well. But JDZ, would you Adam and Eve it, mate? That, we talked earlier about my quest, no pun intended, that's gimmick infringement. I went on a quest of my own to find some ancient scriptures. Would you believe that they also wrote of the DLC champion, Federico? They wrote of the man himself, and I was able to find depicted in stone and rock, carved by the hands of the almighty Lorcana elders. Whoa. Here we have Federico, the original pirate, and here we see him leading the charge. His pirate crew there, singing away to him. What are they singing, JDZ? What are they singing?
Yo ho, the pirate's life for me. I don't know the rest of the lyrics. That's it. I got the chorus.
I'm cooked. I'm so
sure
cooked.
They're more there. But
That's enough.
We're back and we're singing sea shanties, and we're shivering me timbers. Okay, we're firing the cannons. I love it. That is incredible. I didn't know. I need to get into your geographical your dig sites, man. Where are you finding all this stuff? Because I'm sorry,
sir. That's confidential. I'm sorry.
That's classified. Okay,
we can't share it this time. But
keep your secrets.
But be rest assured, the scriptures will continue to be unveiled. But yeah, love everything you've already said about Federico. I do think it's worth commenting on. And hey, this is quite usually the case. This isn't a novel idea, but play draw disparity. I think we could look at a couple of examples here of where that can really matter. So obviously Federico 1-drops with only looking at items. We don't have any characters. We're not running Belle. Not really her place, red-blue, although a couple of players have found success with putting the free-cost Belle in a red-blue deck. We're not seeing her here, so we're really hoping for that Porpsicle. If we can find Forward to Sphere, then that's fine, because it at least enables our Flavisham when we're ready, although worth noting that Artabax has the Benger. So if Artabax is on the play, and Federico starts off with Forward to Sphere or even Porpsicle, then there is a chance that that can be removed before the Flavisham can even come along, so that's one example right there already. But yeah, Federico going to hoping for the Porpsicle really is what we want. We want to draw more cards. Turn 2 is most likely to be a Tipo or a Sail, I would guess. I think it's more important to play the Sail in this instance because the Tipo isn't threatening anything that Artabax is going to be playing in the early game. If we were against like an Emerald deck that had things like Curse Merfolk or characters that we could take out with the 1 strength, then I think it would be a good idea to play the Tipo. But in this instance, I'm not sure what value it's really bringing. I think we'd rather play the Sail and get that extra card draw. But the other option is we play the Coil on 2. And if we do choose to play the Coil on 2, that means from turn 3 we have access to Sisu being able to banish anything that has 3 strength or less. Isn't going to be able to deal with the Lawrence, but if Federico is on the play and he goes turn 1 item, Artabax goes turn 1 either Porpsicle or Mickey Mouse. If Federico goes Coil on turn 2, now Artabax can't really safely play a Smee because it's in danger of just being immediately removed by the Sisu. So you would potentially try to aim for a different line there if you could. Maybe play a couple of 1-drops instead, or a Porpsicle and a 1-drop, something like that. Are there any other examples that you can see right now of like play draw and like the lines in the first couple of turns making a difference? Obviously the Sisu and the Benger are worth bringing a note to.
In the first few turns, I'm not really seeing anything. I think, like I said earlier, if Federico comes out and he hits his markers, you know, that turn 1 item, turn 2 Tipo, turn 3 Grandma, turn 4 Sing, turn Maui, if you just hit those markers throughout the game kind of writes itself, at least for the first 5 or 6 turns. The issue comes up is when Federico stumbles. If he misses one of those points, or if he takes time off to do a brawl, or takes time off to do the Sisu, or set up the Coil, and the Coil gets binged, he's going to be swimming uphill. It's going to be very, very difficult for Federico to recover from that. But if he goes unopposed, and that's where Artabax is going to have to demonstrate his skill, is trying to break up those markers. Because typically in this red-blue deck, they have this really strong top end. They have the dime, they have the Tamatoa, and they can close the game. They can close the door super quick. Federico doesn't have any of that, and he only has these 2 Be Prepares, while Artabax is holding on to 4 of those Peats. So getting into the late game, trying to reset the board.
Whoa, sorry to cut you off, JDZ.
Sorry. I whispered.
What is it? What has he got? What is it?
No. I gotta take my headphones off. Okay, no.
Wait. He's playing what you say?
He only has 2 of the 7 called songs that was released in set number 1. Okay, that removes all characters from the field. Okay, he only has 2 of those in his deck, and Artabax knows this. So a carefully timed Pete, or if you can see those things, if you get a carefully played Pete, or if you can navigate through those times and force them out early in disadvantageous positions, you have more manners. They have less manners. You have more. It's just going to be very difficult if we get into the late game. So all Artabax would need to do a good path to victory is to break up that early 1 through 6 turn in some way, either through a Benja or through forcing him to take a time off to do a brawl or something like that. And I think it'll just be all roses for Artabax. But if that doesn't happen, I think Federico can maintain the initiative and continue to just steamroll down, and it just might be very difficult for Artabax to come through. It's going to be an incredible match. This is the match 100%. That I live for. These are the things that I want to see. I want to see players out there demonstrating their skill and their skill expression and identifying these positions. Open deck list. You can't ask for anything better. So I am super locked in. I'm ready. I'm focused. My body is ready. My mind is ready. And I'm so happy to be here with you, Villain. Oh my goodness.
It's my pleasure, mate. Already. It's my pleasure. It's been too long. It's great to finally get the chance to work with you, man. I think you're incredible. One other thing just worth noting as well, a couple of things really. Obviously, Artabax took the cogs worth out of his deck, which for this matchup is a pretty good thing, because obviously this Sisu would just chow down on it, whereas the Mickey Mouse does at least already have that 3 strength, so will at least require a Coil to be able to get under that. I also think it's worth pointing out only 3 let the storm rage on. Is that strange to you? I know a lot of
listen.
I say this because I know that LD and Artabax believe this to be one of the most powerful cards in the game, right? I watched the Outcast. Go on.
Listen.
Go.
I'm in the Shadox Dave Attack for 2 club. Play the good cards. If you play it, if it's a broken card, I'm playing the broken cards. I'm playing 4. But in this matchup, it could be good. But it does have value against that Tipo. It does have value against the Sisu. It can finish off the Maui Half Shark. It can, if you can coerce that Happy as a Clam to challenge, or coerce that Sisu to challenge with that 4 in the willpower, you can finish it off with a Storm Rage on, get some significant plus values late game even. We saw that happen in the last round, Artabax versus Ed. Again, shout out to Ed, North American Continental Champion. That matchup was phenomenal. And that steel removal, which is typically so poor against Ruby, Sapphire specifically, it was doing work. He was banishing Scars. He was banishing Mauis. He was banishing every Half Sharks. Just no problem, because all of your guys are so chunky. That 3 goes a long way. But you do have the coil, but still, you hit a Lawrence and they storm to finish it off, and you're getting your plus value back. So I'm interested to see how Artabax deploys that. And typically, that's card is not going to be the greatest in this matchup, but it might actually be able to do some heavy lifting. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as well to see where Artabax prioritizes playing his removal, right? Because, like, obviously the Storm can do chip damage, so I can deal with small bodies or combined with a challenge. But if we're talking about just, okay, I want to remove this target immediately with 1 card, you're looking at Strength and Zeus for the big guys. The big guys really, the threatening things really in the Federico list are the 3 copies of Sisu, which obviously, as well as the ability potentially cleaning up the board, it's quest for 3, so that we can't let that sit there. The Tamatoa, obviously, the ability to play an item for free by questing, like we said earlier, is not irrelevant. But like our ceiling is a 2-cost item, but it's not the end of the world. Like, it's the questing for 2 is what's putting on the pressure there. But obviously the Shark, the fact that Federico can gain lore just by playing all of these cheap actions. We got the Hideaway, so needs to respect Artabax needs to respect the Hideaway when playing his own manners, is also something to take into account. But we've got the Sails, we've got the Visions, we've got all these cheap actions. If the Shark just sits there, he can gain so much lore that way, plus he's checking characters from turning sideways for fear of getting back these Pirates Live, getting back these P prepared. So I would say really the Shark is the most must answer with a Zeus, because sometimes you might need to do it to, like the Sisu, you only need 4, right? So 4 characters, strength, job's a good one. Or if you do let the Sisu turn sideways once, and maybe you can't stop it, maybe it shifts onto the small one and turns sideways, at least a Lawrence can immediately take that thing out. So there are other avenues to dealing with this Sisu, right? Whereas the Shark is super hard to remove, 5 willpower, and I would say probably represents a bigger threat than the Tamatoa. There will be some game states where the Tamatoa is doing more, but I think Shark is like a big must answer for Zeus's, and obviously strength being reliant on having a big board yourself, and Federico's not going to let a board grow if he can. Like, he's going to use the Brawls, the Sisus, the Medusas, things like that. But like you said, JDZ, I think it's going to be an incredible match. I'm going to switch over to the stream, and I'm going to ask you to final thoughts. Talk to the people. Oh, mate, it fits straight away. Let's go. Straight away. We didn't need to change a thing. Let's go.
Let's go. It is time, Baker. The players are ready. Judge Phil is going to be in the booth today, wearing the cape and cowl, wearing the gown, the judge's gown.
Shout out to Judge
Phil. He's going to be there holding it down. The players are ready. I'm ready. You're ready. The chat is ready. Everyone across the Lorcana world is ready. I think let's do this. Let's get this thing underway, Villain. Are you ready, baby? Let's rock out.
If the judges can hear us and the players are ready, I am Gucci. I'm so happy that we got into chat earlier. Earlier on chat, we got into call so I could pre-cut these boxes, and it was me, Wizard, and JDZ and we're like, we're gonna go live and they're gonna be wrong and we're gonna have to adjust it all, but first time straight in there, you love to see it. But yeah, if the judges want to give the go ahead to the players, feel free. They might not want to. Pavel may want them to wait the 2 minutes to the allocated time, but we're ready if everyone else is ready. And again, a shout out to the chat, everyone showing support. We have 207 people up in here. Let's go. You love to see it. Thank you so much for your support. Please hit the like button if you haven't already, or That was my mistake. I need to make sure to keep this up. And they're off JDZ. I'm not sure who's going first. We're going to find out in a moment. We've got Artabax down below, and you can see on the left his deck list in the top left and his lore and his ink there. And we have Federico up top, also deck list top right and his lore and ink there. Let's see it, JDZ. Kick us off, buddy. What do you see?
It looks like Federico is going to be starting us off. He's got the green box of justice. I think we're going to trust the boxes this time, and we already have a lot of those markers already identified. He placed them off to the left. You have your popsicle, you have your Tipo, you have your turn 4, and it looks like you're preparing to ship back a lot of visions and the Sisu and a 7-cost uninkable action / song that's going back to the bottom of the deck right now. And right now you're on your way as you got the Brawl, the Shark, and then the How Far I'll Go. But looking over to Artabax's side, what do we see over there, Villain?
Sorry, I'm just cutting boxes. I'll let you continue to cook.
What we see? So
keep cooking, bro.
On Artabax's side, he seems like he has double strength. He has a Chi and Po, and he has the Bell. So Bell pop Bell, and he has a Pete coming in on 3. So the mulligan is not looking as great for Artabax. He would have liked a lot more 1-cost characters or some of those heavy questing guys to get in early to kind of put that lore in early. Is a typical way that the blue steel strategy traditionally has been able to match wits with the Ruby Sapphire strategy with those Smees and those Lawrences and just heavy quests and big bodies that can kind of resist the Sisu by itself, and you get that chip lore in. So you do have some chances to get to it. You have double popsicle, you do have Bell. Keep in mind, Artabax is not playing like a traditional blue steel deck. It doesn't have any ramps or any type of that, anything of that sort. So you're playing it just straight up more like an aggro mid-range borderline curve style strategy, as you will go ahead and set up the Bell turn 1, pop the Fortisphere, get into the strength. So this is looking good for you so far.
Yeah,
and you do have another option to go for the Hiram here as well. Hiram. I'll keep saying Hiram. I need to cut that.
Just call him Flavisham, man. Just call him Flavisham. Not once in the film does he get called Hiram or Hiram. His name is Flavisham. But yeah, again, the play draw being huge, like Artabax getting to go first and get this Bell down on turn 1. Again, it's the Storm Rage on is in the hand. It's not going to matter very much in this particular matchup because Federico isn't looking to put out any small characters. The Tipo might come out and be a Storm target just to draw a card, but just having this Bell here who's going to sit there and probably get 2 or 3 lore just for being on the board because she can't be competed with. Also, if Federico does go turn 2 coil, there we go. I was just going to say, if Federico goes turn 2 coil, but Bell and Smee are both on the board, then they're gonna it's creating distraction, right? Because you've got 2 guys now. The Sisu can't just wipe the board, so like Artabax is going to maintain something on board to keep questing and have something to try and keep tempo.
And Artabax does get down that Smee on 2, which is an incredible card in this matchup, as I stated earlier. Just if he can go for a full 6, like he can do some of the times, even though we do have those Maui spooling up right now, the Grandma Tala is going to be there. I think he's still going to be able to go for at least 4, and this Bell can go for another 2. And if you can get to that 10 to 12 range, you can put some serious pressure on the Federico. However, Federico does have the Pirate's Life, and that will be able to kind of tip you back in. So let's see if we get this Tipo in, which I fully expect we will. Hanging on to that Brawl, putting it down into the ink well, setting up the Tipo, who's probably going to get stormed here on that next turn. He probably just doesn't see it coming.
Yeah, most likely.
What are you inking here, though?
So it looks like How Far I'll Go is the choice here, which is super interesting. We've got 2 Mauis in hand, which we're clearly valuing. We know we're going to need to be able to respond to this board as soon as we can, plus the threat of McDuck Manners is probably adding to how much Federico is valuing those Mauis. Like, sometimes you just need them if the location drops at the wrong point.
Yeah, so he does come on in with that Storm Rage on as expected, and get another quest in with Smee. Probably trying to set up probably trying to get that Lawrence set up here. I think would be the play, even though you could go Pete to probably try to prevent a How Far I'll Go turn to throw off the timeline, but electing to go for that 2 lore off of the Lawrence and then kick it back on over to Federico, who is now going into that 4-turn play.
Even if How Far I'll Go did come down this turn, that's another turn off, right? And then you're questing for 2, 4, 5, and suddenly the clock is ticking away. So I think this is absolutely right. Federico here faced with a decision. Do we go Flavisham for the card draw, or do we get down the Tala to establish a body? I think the Tala is probably more important, would be my thought, because you're still inking to 5 next turn, and then you've got the Maui and the Tala that can both start to clean up this board a little bit. We can find a turn later to Flavisham.
Yeah, I would 100% lean on Grandma Tala in this situation, especially being on the draw. I thought you were on the play as Federico, but I think you started off on the draw, unless the turn one was just a turn one popsicle. But I think you got to go Tala here just to combat this me or maybe even this Bell stop from singing. But if you do put out the Tala, you run right headlong into the strength of a Raging Fire, which you saw your opponent ink already. So there's a good chance maybe they have another one, or they just didn't think it would get much value. But getting Grandma Tala here blasted with the strength of a Raging Fire could be a down tempo play that you just don't want to go through. So let's see if that's what he likes to do here. Even though Grandma Tala can board fight a little bit, but getting strength just feels quite bad, as we will go ahead and deploy that effect.
It sure does, but like, sometimes you got to make them not have it, right? And when someone inks a card, you do think, okay, was that your only one? And now I'm a little safer from it, or are you inking it because you had two? If we don't play the Tala, then we do, at least make them have it, right? And I think we need to start combating this board. It's interesting as well. Be prepared. That's be prepared going to the bottom of the deck there from the Grandma Tala. So that's one of two copies. So I doubt we're going to get back to that one at the bottom. So probably only one copy of Be Prepared online during this match. If Federico had it in his early hand, then there's an argument he might have gone for the How Far I'll Go on 4, just to be able to ramp to that Be Prepared and clear up this board a little sooner. Didn't have the Be Prep, so probably didn't feel like the safest line. Artabax going to play a Porpsicle here, drawing a card. We find that Mickey Mouse Food Fight Defender. A shout out to Spessy. I know he's a big fan. Underestimating him is a recipe for disaster.
That's so good. That's such a
shout out to Spessy.
I do love that. I do love that. But now let's see if Artabax is going to lean on just throwing Mickey down into the inkwell, and you could sing here. Or do you going to quest? These are the decisions that you have to make. This is how you get those titles as master of the mid-range. Do you sing or do you quest? Is it worth it? Or do you save that strength for another day? Because you know your opponent is going into that Maui turn, and Maui is probably going to come down. He's going to get a plus. How do you minimize the effectiveness of Maui? If you save the strength, then maybe you can hit the Maui with it to finish him off. But it looks like we're going to go ahead and go for Benja, break up the Hiram line. The Flaversham line is no more, which you spoke about earlier. That's so good, as now you did break up one of those markers, and then we will go ahead and strength onto the Grandma Tala. So this is a very, very cozy spot for Artabax. What do you think about this position?
I super respect it, especially because Federico's only on 4 ink, so he's going into 5 now. There's a chance he ramps this turn so that he gets Be Prepared on next turn. But in this situation, Artabax, who is already sitting at... have I got the law totals around the wrong way? Artabax is at 7, right?
Yes, Artabax is at 7,
okay,
and Federico is at 0.
Sorry, chat. I will switch that around in a second. But just to my point, already at 7, we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 law on the board here. That takes us to 14. That's a nice jump. And if we can get to the point where we force Federico to play B Prep, and then we have a mana or two that we can drop, that could be pretty big. I'll let you chat while I just fix these. Apologies.
All right, so
chat.
this is a tremendous moment. This is a tough spot for Federico. You do have this Maui that you can deploy here, and you probably have to take some of this lore off the board, so you might have to even go into this big body Lawrence and then lose your Maui in a +2 situation as you're getting more questing in. However, Smee is only going to be able to quest for one more time until he gets banished by his own ability, but you do have that popsicle that can then heal the Smee and continue his onslaught to your hitbox, as it may be. So we're staring down, tough spot. Federico thinking about taking another down tempo turn here and setting up the Sapphire Coil, maybe inking and going for a small Sisu play to clear up some of these heavy quested characters as well. So opportunities are endless, as it looks like that's what we're going to do. We'll pay the 2, we'll get the coil established, and then we'll ink Hiram Flaversham, and then we'll be able to pay the 3, get the small Sisu down, and then we'll be able to banish. What was the target here? Probably still going after that.
Lawrence, I would say.
We're going Benja here.
Okay, goes Benja. I can respect it. Like, again, they both quest for 2. Lawrence obviously has the 4 strength, but could have been 2 for the... Oh, they wouldn't be able to do the Lawrence. I'm silly, yeah, because you can only take Lawrence down to 2 strength with the coil. So yeah, that makes the Benja the best choice, because the Smee is on a clock anyway. It may end up just banishing itself. Yeah, there you go. First sign of me being rusty, but we're gonna get into
you're good.
Thank goodness you're here, JDZ. Like I said, it's a day off for me.
Here's another rush check though. Here's another rush check. Do you pop this popsicle to heal this Smee to get more questing out of it, or do you just let him fall to his fall on his own, stumble over and kill right now?
It's interesting, right?
keel over
Because we have to respect the ability for Federico on the next turn to shift into big Sisu, going up to 6 ink, and we do have the small Sisu on the board. So we do need to respect that. Obviously, the coil could be triggered by the inking to 6. But you would probably hit the Lawrence then, right? Because then you bring it down to 2 strength and the Sisu can finish it. We are going to see the McDuck Manor hit the board and Artabax turning his character sideways, questing big. Yeah, it's an interesting question. He is going to choose to do that, JDZ, because the argument otherwise is you want that Porpsicle online for if you top deck a Flavisham, but there's also good odds to just top deck another Porpsicle or another or a Fortisphere. So yeah, I like that shout. This Smee could probably get another 2 lore on the next turn now because, like I said, Sisu's most likely to be the target of the coil if we do have a big Sisu to shift into, which we don't. But I'm just thinking from Artabax's perspective, he's got to respect it, right? There's that pirate's life. We saw the ancient scripture that forspoke of Federico and his pirate crew. You love it.
And it's now in hand, but now Artabax doing what he does best, able to split the difference. So you're able to play around the idea of a Sisu by putting up the McDuck Manor, and now you have these 3 threatening characters on the board as well. So what are you going to come in and challenge with this Maui? Are you going to put some pings onto this McDuck Manor, or are you going to try to take some of this lore off the board in the Lawrence or the Smee? So what do? You get put in these vices, man, and it's just so hard to navigate through some of the time, especially when your markers are broken up. You notice that Popsicle went down and it kind of took a little bit of momentum out of Federico's sails here. Yeah. No pun intended. Pirate's life and all.
I think it's interesting, right, because he's got the backup Maui, but you have to think of it in this respect. I think I'd probably hit the location, but because if you go into any of the characters, then your Maui can then just be removed by a storm. Yes, you've got another Maui, but then as soon as you do bring that down and go into the location after, then it's probably not long for this world. If you go into the location, keep it healthy. It does demand Along Came Zeus. Even playing a 4th character and then singing Strength wouldn't be enough to take it out because it would have no damage on it. So I do quite like going into the location and making Artabax have Zeus, and even if he does have Zeus, at least you've half dealt with this location. You've got a second Maui that can help deal with it. If you don't and you go into one of these characters, I feel like you're going to fall so far behind because now you only have 1 Maui to do initial damage to this mana. It's sure to not stick around for too long, even if Artabax is forced to do a 2-for-1, which again could give Federico a bit of tempo back, but I still don't know then how you're dealing with the mana when you've lost both your Mauis. One going into the Inkwell, a choice between that Flavisham and Pirate's Life. Yeah, that would not be my prediction, but Federico clearly with a different trail.
You got to look at the life, the lore as well, because Artabax next turn is threatening 7 on board right now. That'll put him up to 19, which is almost imminent GG. So it's going to get to a point where it's going to be that one of be prepared that you spoke of or nothing, as we're going to go ahead and send Maui on into the Lawrence. We're taking back 3 due to taking back 2 due to the coiling. And this is still a really, really tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Federico, I grant, is most likely a much, 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 much better player than me. But it does surprise me for sure, because I think now this Maui is quite easily dealt with by either of the guys. Just the Bell makes sense. And then this McDuck Manor is just sitting there. You don't have a backup Maui to deal with it. You got a Pirate's Life, which is going to grant you perhaps an extra turn looking at this lore race. But even the Flavisham
now with this Pete coming down, he's about to go Pete Mickey next turn.
Yeah.
And so that could almost...
That is a surprise
that almost
to me.
Could be... Yeah.
I think that's a turn I want to bear in mind for when we get to the interview section as to what Federico's thought trail was. There's probably something that I'm just missing, but yeah, to my eyes, I feel like that was setting up for the manor to be pretty hard to deal with. Maybe just hoping that we find the hideaway or we can deal with it in a more efficient way. But again, even that seems, when we don't have an item to go with that Flavisham yet. Yeah, unsure. Nonetheless, as you say, Artabax, the clock ticking away, is looking at that P, and we were going to exert 3 ink, but Artabax taking a moment. He's got plenty of time. No need to rush if you think there might be a better line out there, but I'm quite liking Artabax's position considering Federico's hand.
Yeah, you can even if you really want to risk it, you can send this Bell or Smee into the Maui and then just play defend the manor until your opponent can put up some type of threat. Even a shift Sisu on top of big Sisu after a coil and then put 5 damage onto the manor, you can get at least 4 more lore out of this thing. He's gonna have to really stretch this pirate's life and hope for some key top decks, and you just need Artabax to take some type of time off to get some tempo back so you can set up this Hiram because it's just gonna be so slow with this manner just clicking away as you
Yeah,
do
there we
go
go.
ahead and hit the Pete and the Mickey together, and that is just that it could be a GG on board right here if you can't seem to get through the
Do we
spot.
have
This
a big
Pirate's Life gonna have to
Sisu?
go a long way,
Do we have a
Villain.
big Sisu? That would be huge. Oh, we have a proxy. Okay, we got our first proxy of the day, JDZ. I'm not sure
I
what
like
that
it.
is.
Hey, listen, I covered Federico's game last time, and he had the laziest ultra cards or test cards I think I've ever seen. This one is significantly better.
The
than
thing
what
is,
he
it
had.
doesn't
So,
matter, mate, because, like, we're changing the subject, but I remember Moyen using proxies for an event, and they were, like, really well-made ones. Like, he printed them off, and people still hated it. Which, hey, I respect.
no, they hate. No,
I respect
they
your. I
hated,
respect
they hated,
your.
I remember that they hated Moyen because Moyen's out here befuddled. You got befuddled, big dog. You're just too lazy to get up into that bulk closet and grab
Oh,
that befuddle out
I
of there.
feel like that's a
what
bit
that means.
harsh. Like,
No, get up and go get that befuddle out of that closet. You know you got one. Go deep
shout
dive and
out
grab
to
that
you,
thing out of there.
Moyen. I don't think you did anything wrong, but we can agree to disagree. Nonetheless, we do see a Flaversham coming down during a couple. I guess that was an item.
That was he hit the coil. He's gonna
Was
scoop
it
it
a
up. It's
coil?
Artabax.
And there you
He
go.
hit the coil with the hero.
There you go. It's over. Artabax already at 16 lore. Had a bell on the a Smee on the board, which was going to be questing for 2. There was no way around that. And the mana still ticking away. So we go to game 2. A pretty convincing 1-0 from Artabax on the play. Again, respects to play draw disparity. It does make a big difference. I have no doubt that Federico's on the play game is going to look a lot better for him as long as he doesn't completely brick. But we shall see. But yeah, the only turn I obviously great match, but yeah, that Maui turn that we commented on for a little while where we were discussing what do you do with the Maui here, and it ended up coiling the Lawrence and going into that, and then was removed easily by the Bell on the previous turn. Only took 2 damage from the Lawrence, so at least Storm in itself wasn't a way to finish off the Maui. It did require the Bell, but especially because we inked out of a Maui, I don't know how we were getting rid of that location. So I'm keen to ask Federico about that for sure. He may, hey, there may also be the argument here, right, of like that was my line was playing not to lose. Whereas Federico maybe felt he was too far behind and he needed a couple of like god draws off the top. He needed to find item to Flaversham hideaway, like something quite high roll, be prepared on a turn where Pete hadn't been played. So maybe it was more that, like maybe Federico for my line would have extended the game, but he was still going to lose, whereas his decision put him in the best position to hopefully be blessed by your top decks and to then win, because sometimes that's what you got to do as a Lorcana player. Sometimes that's a mistake I make as a player. It's identifying when to pull the trigger, right, in either direction. Either the okay, this is my time to push to win, or okay, I'm gonna lose if I don't do XYZ.
And I think another key point in that match, and we kind of talked about that in the pregame show, was that Benja. It came out and it popped that popsicle right in time to break up that Hiram play, and it just set Federico back so far. Because I think if he can get that Hiram down and get him quested, and he had to take a whole nother turn off to go into the coil Sisu play when he could have had had another guy there and maybe had the Sisu coil play later on after you got the full powered Maui in to kind of help board fight there. But you had to take another turn off, which just kind of felt a little bit slow, and you had lost already so much tempo at that point. So that was another critical point, and it just once you got behind it, Artabax was just hitting the gas pedal the entire time. And that Smee came in at the right time. That popsicle heal on the Smee, which is super heads up play. A lot of people forget that popsicle does have another effect aside from draw a card and be super cheap and inkable and just great. It can also heal too, and it comes up so great with these Smees and these high willpower characters.
We talked earlier about like Popsicle just enables so many cards to be all the better, but we are kicking off. Federico will be on the play. His mulligan, he kept just a Popsicle and a Sail, which is pretty nice. Artabax keeping a Benja and a Bell, so respecting this Benja's ability to come down on turn 3, even on the draw, and interfere with the coil, certainly a priority for Artabax does not find the 1-cost item, so this spell is likely ink.
It didn't.
But yeah, Federico had the turn 1 Portical and the turn 2 Sail. We have found a coil. Again, maybe not wanting to play the coil because if we respect the Benja, then coil doesn't sound like a great play. We are going to ink a Pirate's Life for me. Down comes the Portical. It's time for some ice cream, JDZ. We find the Flavisham, which is pretty good because now we have turn 2 ramp, turn 3 Flavisham. That seems a lot better to me, and I think we want to prioritize ramping to get this Sisu online, the 8-cost. Hopefully we can find the 3-drop out of nowhere. We may also alternatively, instead of turn 3 Flavisham, choose to go turn 3, just play how far I'll go without singing it. Just for the extra ramp. It will depend on what Artabax does here and how much Federico how much pressure he feels like he's under to respond to the board. We know we're not going to be seeing a turn 1 Bell. And do we even have a turn 2? We have a turn 2 Broom, which is fine.
We do have a turn 2 Broom coming in.
And I think for 1 ain't it, mate.
He would love to do a redo of what he did last time. Yeah. Just putting that bell down to the inkwell early, just probably out of frustration. It's like, dude, come on. I need your counterparts. I need you shifting onto this popsicle or fortisphere right now. But not having a turn 1 play does absolutely not feel great, as it looks like Federico is hitting all these markers. If you could, I don't think you'll have the time to get that Benja out on the draw to break up this popsicle. So it will be Federico getting that draw in, and he could turn around and sing with the Hiram Flaversham to get the how far I'll go off too. So this is looking complete like a different game on the play, on the draw for Federico here.
This is what I mean. Play draw disparity. Just immediately, this is a thing. I can play Flavisham before you can deal with my item. We do see the Hideaway inked. That is certainly something that I imagine Artabax will be taking note of. It is the one and only copy in the deck. This is open deck lists. The competitors are allowed to switch decks between rounds, but they have to lock in. They don't know who they're playing until it is announced, so they can't prepare. So no pun intended. So Artabax will know the list. Only one Hideaway. That is now gone. But yeah, the Broom coming down. It's good to get a body down, right? It's a body for Strength of a Raging Fire numbers later on, if nothing else. But Broom not really doing a lot. And here we see the Flavisham able to come down, pop that Portical before the Benja could do anything, drawing 2 cards. And Federico, I think you could tell from his pace of play here as well that he immediately feels a lot more confident. There was no turn 1 drop from Artabax. No Portical. The turn 2 drop just being a Broom is far better than it being a Smee, so that's pretty good. The Benja is going to come down. There was no item to pop because it had already been removed, but it does quest for 2, so Benja's a perfectly fine card to include in this item heavy meta, and the Broom questing for 1.
Yeah, he just needs to. Federico has to be feeling so confident now, because now you have this Hiram. Even though you weren't even planning on probably using it anyway, you can have this Hiram go ahead and start singing this How Far I'll Go. And if you can stick this Half Shark, and while Artabax doesn't have that Zeus set up or a singer to sing it, that could be another play that could just completely secure this victory, take over this board. Is here Hiram will open up the pipes and sing How Far I'll Go, which is another funny thing to think about. I don't know if that's in your octave. I don't know if you can hit that range. I don't know if you're Moana. Can you give me a? I don't know if you got.
I was gonna.
Okay. That's a little sample.
See the line where my deck meets my hand. It ramps me.
Oh, I like that.
I have it a lower octave. Nonetheless, sorry to interrupt you, JDZ, but I've just noticed something in chat that we should definitely pay attention to. I think one of these proxies is a 6-cost crab. And I think it might be the one in his hand here. We saw one of these proxies inked on turn 2, which I think was maybe the coil. We know one of them's a coil, right? Because we think one of them's a coil, or do we know?
No, one is a shark and one is a crab.
Okay. My apologies.
One of the proxies is a half shark, one is a crab.
I'm going to take the onus on that. I should have double checked before the match what proxies these guys were playing. So that's on me. I apologize. I should have double checked. But we're working on the fly. We are going to play that How Far I'll Go. Such an incredible song, JDZ. Yes, it's uninkable.
I love it.
4 cost is fine. Works great with Flavisham and Grandma Tala. Ramping and filtering through, finding pieces that you need. This has been an absolute meta setter, this How Far I'll Go and what it can offer.
100%. I can't believe people have been cutting this card from this Ruby Sapphire strategy. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Right? Depends on the
still
DKP
think
list.
No, DKP needs it. I think because he has so many action, he has so many guys that can sing it. I think that some of the more item heavy builds have been cutting it, and some of the players who are just trying to get away from losing to Pete so hard, because this red blue strategy can just fold to a Pete from time to time. So they're cutting some of these actions out of there, and I think that's one you kind of want to keep in. It just seems so good. It's a plus, and it ramps, it accelerates, it adds cards to your hand. You could sing it. Incredible design card. It's uninkable, but still, it's a really, really cool card. As it seems like Artabax just can't really get anything going in this spot. Federico has hit all of the markers, and he's dragged this thing into that 7 ink turn, 8 ink turn. This deck can come alive when it gets into the deep water. So I'm trying to see how the Master of the Midrange is going to negotiate these treacherous obstacles.
I think.
How do you think he gets out of this, Villain?
Well, Artabax. Well, I think so. We need a Zeus, right? Which we don't currently have because we need to respect that.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Sisu can come down. Shark can come down. So I think we want to establish something that can sing this. We can't do that anymore. We could have. We can still ink for turn, but because we've played a Pork, we can only ink up to 3. So that leads me to believe that Artabax is wanting to play the Lawrence this turn. There is no coil on the board, so we don't need to worry about anything coming in to lower Lawrence's strength or put him in Sisu range. Of course, the Benja and the Broom are both in Sisu range, so I don't see a world where they don't at least turn sideways this turn. But yeah, I think the Tala's a good shout. You can't remove it with the Sisu, not without a coil anyway, and you can't play coil ink and then play big Sisu without shifting. So this Zeus is a great card off the top for Artabax, and holding on to that Mukduk mana, we saw how much work that did in the previous game. We know the Hideaway is gone. We also know that there are 3 Mauis in Federico's deck, but like Federico had 2 of them in his hand last time when the mana was down and it didn't make a difference. So these mana's so important. We are going to sing Storm and I think challenge with everything into the Flavisham. Yep, there's the 1 spread damage. And of course storming allowing us to draw a card. So that gets rid of our Flavisham problem. Hopefully stop Federico drawing too many cards next turn, and we still have this Zeus. So this is quite like Artabax was Federico off to a really strong start, but Artabax has some presence on the board, has the Zeus for removal. He's not out of it by any means. I think this is still going to be a bit of a long, grindy game. What are your thoughts?
And I think it's so fascinating how Artabax can always seem to maintain a board and a hand. He always has a board and he always has a hand. That is a clear indicator of someone who's in tune with the deck, who knows how to play. They don't overcommit. They weigh the options. They know when to feather the gas pedal. They can push it to the floor when it's time to go. They can dial it back when it's time to chill. And it just works out so great, as we will put that Happy as a Clam into play right now. I believe that's what that is, unless that's the half shark. And we'll see so. As the
There we go, because we're getting the items back. He is happy as a clam, because our beautiful baby. You should be singing that, really. You're the pretty one around here. But yeah,
Tamatoa hasn't always been this glam.
Let's go.
I was a drab little crab once. He's not drab anymore. That thing
He's not anymore.
$500 for the enchanted version. About $95 for the foil one. So I understand why you're going to proxy that one. I pulled
one in Pack Rush against Spessy.
Let's go.
Like, we didn't sleep, just opened 2 packs each, shuffled up, and I was like, oh, that's an enchanted Tamatoa that I've just been shuffling.
Oh, no. Did you sell it? Is it gone? Do you still have it?
No, it's on the table behind me.
Let's go. If you need to vend it, man, let me know. I'll be a buyer. Perhaps. You gotta give me a deal, though. I need a deal, Villain. As we're inking the popsicle here, look at that. And then we're going to set up the Sapphire Coil. So this is all that Federico could have ever wanted, as Artabax has to shudder when he sees that Sapphire Coil spooled up onto the field. You don't have a Benji to go after it, so you can kind of sense the writing is on the wall. If this Sisu comes down next turn, which you fully expect it to do, you're going to lose your entire board. So let's see what Artabax elects to do here. Maybe we'll take this time to try to establish some more stuff, putting that Food Fighter right on into the inkwell immediately. And maybe you can quest for a little bit more, but you can kind of see where this is going if you're Artabax, I'm certain.
So here's a question, JDZ. Like, do you Zeus this Tamatoa, or do you hold it for the shark? Because again, like the questing for 2 obviously is nice, but the ability to play an item for free isn't hugely relevant in Federico's deck. There's no dime or anything. Again, not irrelevant, but it isn't that much of a high roll. And again, I feel like the shark is such a bigger issue. And at least if this Tamatoa turns sideways, we have the Bell plus a Storm, or like a Strength or a Raging Fire, something like that is a way of dealing with it. So yeah, do you prioritize taking out using Zeus now, or do you hold it for the shark?
If it were me, again, I can't speak for Artabax. He's clearly a significantly better player than I think. I'll be in a few lifetimes. But however,
Me and you
I
too,
think
brother.
he wants to sing this Zeus. I think he wants to sing this Zeus, and I think if he looked at the deck list and he saw that Federico had at least one Fishbone Quill, he probably goes for the Zeus just because that's too much value to give up.
Opposite.
However, knowing that Federico doesn't play, or not Fishbone Quill, I'm sorry, Lucky Dime. Since Federico doesn't play any Lucky Dimes, he's like, it's not that big of a deal. I need to save this Zeus. I want to sing this Zeus to get the maximum efficiency out of my ink and out of my cards per turn.
Right? That's the other thing, right? Because if you play Zeus that turn, then you're just paying it for 4, and that's it. Whereas we're not as bothered by the Tamatoa, and this way we can stick the Tala, find ourselves another card, and then we've got a singer for it as well. And Artabax's hand is not bad. He's got a Happy as a Clam of his own. There's a Forward Sphere in the discard, and then the Portugal on board, just waiting to be popped whenever he sees fit. A McDuck Mana, a Zeus, and a Smee in hand. It's not bad, but Federico looking at 8 ink. Just the fact that he inked a Portugal as well, Artabax has got to be thinking, okay, you've got a pretty good hand. Like if you're inking Porp at this point in the game, you've probably got more and you've got better cards. Federico with a plethora of options here. We are going to put that coil into.
Oh, now he can clear the board. Oh, this is painful because he has 2 of the coils now, so he can shrink everybody. And Artabax already scooping the cards because he knows it's coming. He can feel it. He probably felt this 4 turns ago as we got double coil in play, and we'll be able to play this Sisu. We shrunk the grandma. We shrunk the belt.
Yeah, and
everybody's going in.
Artabax knowing what was going on there. Sisu coming down. A shout out to Sailor of the Azeroth Sea. I know he adores the big Sisu. And it's hard not to, right? She's a beautiful girl. She puts in a lot of work. She's not bothered by Ward. Putting in so much work here, and suddenly Artabax left with no board, and Federico with a Sisu and a 6-cost Tamatoa in play. We do have a Zeus, but even then, like, you can Zeus this Sisu, right? But I think you still don't want to, like, that's a turn off, right? You want to play this Tala, and you want to be able to sing it on the following turn. Not to mention, if we was to top something like a Storm Rage on, then we might be able to use a Storm and then finish it with the Tala.
But the hits just keep on coming as... You got double. Once you get double coil set up in this late game, all of your characters, all of your little C-suits just become powerhouses, and you're already establishing a 3 ink for double little C-suit to clear this board again. It's just not looking great. As we're going to go ahead and bring out the Hiram Flaversham here to just grab some more cards. If you ink now, you can clear the board again, and it seems like Artabax, this is just too much to come back from. You needed those binges to hit these coils, and it just didn't come down that way. But it is what it is. It looks like we're probably going to be going into a game number 3 here.
Seems that way.
Never giving up. Yeah, it does.
No, of course not.
I'm all for game number 3.
But so am I. But Artabax he's not going to go down without a fight, right? Like if there's a line to be found, he's going to find it. And again, Artabax, a great showman. Again, shout out to Artabax's channel and of course to LD. You can catch them both doing the Artacast, which is one of my favorite pieces of Lorcana content to consume. So a huge shout out to them. But I do think you're right. This is seeming like Federico's game and that we're probably going to a game 3. But Artabax, a couple of options, has found a Flaversham of his own, and there is a Portugal on board. We're going to start off by that. Down comes the Toy Maker, and using that Artificer ability, drawing a couple of cards. We found another Mice. One good Mice deserves another, and another one of those Tamatoas. Both good cards. I still think we're probably a little bit too far behind at this point, especially if Federico 10 ink and 7 lore. Again, it's not going to take him long to catch up with this Sisu and Tamatoa questing for 5. Couple of small Sisus down. I do think the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, he got the brawl too. So any character or anything that Artabax tries to place on the board from henceforth is just going to be removed almost immediately. So you can go Shark here and play a couple of actions, and this game is just going to come to an immediate and screeching halt. Continue to play correctly, questing with your Hiram Flaversham. We're popping the coil. Interesting.
Let's see those cards. Hey, at this point in the game, because also let's bear in mind, as strong as coils are, they're only as strong as to the point that you can keep inking, right, and want to keep inking. Like these cards in hand are all pretty good. Like we'll ink them if we want, if we need to. And you see us there. We do ink the vision. Did we ink a vision? Yeah. No, we're scooping them up. There you go. Artabax has said that's enough.
Yeah, he throws the shark down and starts spamming items, and Artabax's like, okay, you got it, pal. I've seen enough. Okay, let's get to a game. Let's get to another game. You came in, you saw on the corner. Looking at the bear on Artabax's mat, it's just like, man, that just did not go well. But notice the bear.
I saw people in chat like, I'm scared of the Arta bear. I am quite scared of the Arta bear.
I love that.
But yeah,
what
one all so
two
far.
Ears, though?
That's exactly what we want to see. 1-1, go into a game 3. Let's milk these players for every bit of content we can get from them. The Lorcana community is hungry, and I want to give a shout out 346 people in the chat. Let's go. There's an evil laugh for good measure. Thank you so much for the support. I want to once again give a shout out to JDZ Quest. Thank you so much for co-commentating with me. I don't want to stay off the stream for too long because I know they'll be starting soon. But a shout out to you, my friend, and all the work you've been doing for the Lorcana community. He is linked down below. Also, as this stream comes to an end, JD's going to hop out. He's going to go start a Twitch stream of his own. And we're going to go over there. I'm going to send the people over there, and he's going to keep you simmering until the other round 2 game that's happening today. The legendary Zan Syed taking on the literal GOAT, member of Villain Club, Zach Bivens. Now, sure to be an all-star matchup. Blue Steel versus Classic Steel Song. I was one of the people, JDZ, that was saying, yo, you got to be optimistic to play Whole New World in this format. Like, as if it wasn't, like, hard enough in previous formats with Red-Blue being as good as it is. But now you got more Blue Steel decks that are using Fishbone Quill. No one clipped that. That's a lot of optimism for a Whole New World. But Zach Bivens came along and went Baker.
I think it might listen, these Blue Steel players, they're getting egregiously out of hand with their hand size limitations. They're playing that Marius's Workshop, and they're drawing like crazy, and their hands are just blowing up. Hiram is questing, and their hands are just blowing up, and they'll never see it coming.
Could you imagine?
Just blow them out with Whole New World. It happens all the time. I don't think it'll happen to Zan, but it can happen, and it could be absolutely a mess sometimes.
You know these Blue Steel decks that like draw 1 million cards because of Workshop and Flavishams and Porps, and they have like 20 cards. Could you imagine if they could run Sly for the Sky Dragon? You imagine?
Oh yeah,
honestly,
that would be a good.
That boy would be.
That card needs to exist in Lorcana. That should be a strategy. That should be a card that can have. Hey, however many cards you have in your hand, that's what the card's attack, or excuse me, tough willpower and strength should be. That would be a great card design. I think that should be Power Line. Make that the Power Line card. When you guys drop that. I'm looking for a job, RB. If you guys need a guy, let me know. I'll come out there and I'll support you guys. But Power Line, we'll make them a 6-cost inkable. However many cards you have in your hand, that's the willpower and strength. Okay, it needs to be an amber card.
First time ever seeing it eye to eye.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Myself. Hey, listen. Have you ever read the lyrics to that song? It is a powerful, impactful song. It's very good. It's above its time. It's ahead of its time.
And you know the other one I really like, which doesn't get enough of a mention for Goofy Movie, is Stand Out, right at the very beginning, the one Max sings.
Out.
Without even if I gotta shout out loud. Such a tune.
That movie's great. Oh my goodness.
That's such a good film. We've got to get it in Lorcana at some point, surely. Anyway, we're starting off a Pete hitting the inkwell for Artabax, who is on the play, and the Porpsicle coming down, drawing a gun. And we do have that turn 1 bell. Shades of
Power
game
play.
1.
This is looking really good for Artabax. You got Smee in hand. You got double Smee. You're double duty on the speed.
No one drop
this
for
is looking
Federico.
Bad for Federico. He does have the ramp, so you did miss a marker, which you missed one. You missed a marker, but you do have your Celia Right C. You can get into the Grandma Tala on 3, and then maybe you can draw into something. I don't know. This is going to be another as we talked about, this red-blue deck is really good when it's hitting its markers, when it's hitting its timestamps. When you miss a little piece of that line to get to that 6 ink, it gets a little froggy. That's when the players have to really demonstrate that skill. As you got Artabax slamming this Smee with some tempo, getting him onto the board fast and in a hurry, as Medusa is not doing much in this situation.
That's not what we want. And yeah, leaving Artabax free to just start this clock and start racing away. We do have the turn 2 ramp. We really want to find a Porpsicle here so that we can use like ink and then play it immediately. We don't find it. Maui's not bad as a turn 4 response card if we really need to. I say turn 4 because we're ramping this turn. It could be that we do something else. But yeah, what are we going to ink this turn? Unfortunately, it's not a T-Pose, so we can't ink those uninkables. We can't ink that Medusa. Probably a Vision, right?
I would probably get down. It looks like he's gearing up to put the coil in, but I think you want to keep that coil, especially with this Medusa, especially with those little Sisus coming in with all these powerful 3-cost characters. That could be your removal, but we are going to reluctantly put the coil down to the inkwell and still have no play on the board as of right now, as Artabax is just free and clear to continue to move about the cabin. Let's see what we do here on this turn 3 play. Are we going to go Smee number 2 exactly like he drew it up, and then we're going to slam him in there for another quest for 3, and this is looking great. This is the exact start you want from Artabax's perspective.
This is not good at all. I hate to call it early. I never count anyone out, especially a DLC champion, but this is not the start we want considering what Artabax just did. Also worth noting, Artabax on that turn could have played, he inked the Mickey, could have inked something else.
Yeah.
He played Smee and Mickey just for that, like, again, one more Lord per turn, but the 3 cards in Artabax's hand are very good. I can understand the reluctance to ink any of them, so the fast food defender straight into the inkwell, but yeah, Federico here can ink and play Grandma Tala to establish a body, which I think needs to be the play. We don't have a how far I'll go to sing on the next turn is the problem, because you want to build to the B prep here, but like, so you want the vision to find it, but we're still so far off of it. We need to find more ramp.
I think you need to have it, and you need to keep, but you got to keep going. So I think you do have to reluctantly send this Grandma Tala in. But unfortunately, if you just gaze across the board, you see these 3 bodies all the way across. Maybe you can go Grandma here and take a down tempo turn next turn, set up the coil, and then get a Grandma challenge in as you get into another coil in the Tipo. Look at Tipo showing up late for duty as expected, as he's probably going to find himself at the bottom of the deck.
Yeah,
that's rough.
Yeah, definitely late. We had to establish this Tala. We need something that can challenge probably the healthier of the 2 Smees. We're going to ink that Tamatoa. Down comes Grandma Tala. 2 cards off the top of the deck.
And strength again.
So we got a Fortisphere or following a Grandma Tala for next turn. I think Tala sounds good.
Tala sounds great to me, but let's see what Artabax. This is a decision that I love about this LCCC. So for all the viewers at home who aren't on this level, just look at what they're doing. Look at the decisions that they make, and then you can probably start to implement those decisions into your game. As he will elect to keep the Fortisphere over the Tala. I would have kept Tala there probably all the time.
I probably would have as well, but again, Fortisphere is 1 ink, and then if he finds another, like maybe wants to find something else to ink, although I suppose you could have just inked the Tala. That's probably the turn I'm going to ask Artabax about that decision. But yeah, Artabax running away, which again, if Federico had found more ramp then, or was on the play at least, then this wouldn't be as bad. Find the Sisu, which would be nice if we'd already established a turn 3 Sisu, and like turn 2 coil, turn 3 Sisu, then this would be okay, we can get back into the game. I think we're just too far away, and we don't have a way of ramping this turn. I think the best thing we can do this turn is play Maui. We ink and play Maui, right?
Well, you might have to go Maui here. Maui here just to take some of this lore pressure off, because if all 4 of these characters quest again, that's another 6 coming in, and that's going to put you all the way up to 14, and that's just not where you want to be. So you got to at least drop 2 of these guys off, force somebody to come in and engage with this Maui, give you a chance to get up to 6, but you still just didn't have the time to set up your coil either. So Medusa with no coil against all these 3 cost characters, or 3 strength characters, just doesn't even matter as much. So it's still a painful situation. Maybe you can get it to the point where you get Artabax all the way up to maybe 17, 18, and you can play this whole song and dance that Ruby Sapphire is known to do. You just need a little bit of time to set up the coil, to set up the Medusa, set up the Sisu. You can kind of, maybe potentially there's a world where you can crawl back into if you get to the Be Prepared, but I just think you're just too many turns away. You have to go Maui here, unfortunately.
We needed to have ramped before on this turn, really. Like, we needed to have played Tala last turn and be able to sing How Far I'll Go this turn, really. We are going to play that Maui. Probably going to take one of the Smees, the healthier of the 2, I dare say, just because it's another questing for 2. The other Smee is probably going to take itself out on the following turn if it does quest. Does opt for that Smee. We need to deny all the lore we can. Obviously, that's always a choice, because the Smees tick themselves away, so you want them to get rid of themselves if you can, but the extra 2 lore being generated there I think was too much. Artabax is going to throw down that Fortisphere that he kept over the Tala. We do find a bell, so we can put this down. Will we, though? We're going into turn 6 for Federico. He can't be prep. Maybe we do just play this bell here. We've got one more full turn, or maybe we hold it. I don't know. You have to think about the clock. I
think you got all the momentum. You got all the energy. I say you just jam, and just keep it going home. Keep the pedal pushing. You feel, and you could just set yourself up. Hopefully, you could draw a Pete and just keep the momentum going. I think what you're trying to also set up, perhaps, is this Happy as a Clam getting full value. If you can manage to get that Fortisphere into the discard as well, and you get it back, that's just even more value that you can get. So I think that could be on the mind of Artabax as well, as he's still sitting here. This board is looking quite good, but you have the 1 card in hand, the Happy as a Clam representing a little bit more card draw, and this could be the chance for you to slowly start to turn this thing around. You're going into 6. Oh, that feels bad. That does feel really bad.
It's just like 1 turn too slow, right? And worth noting there, Artabax had 1 more ink left after he played that Smee. because he played Fortisphere, played Smee. He had 1 ink, and he used that to, because Porpoisicle you can banish for free, whereas Fortisphere, the secondary ability, you have to pay 1 ink to do it. It gives bodyguards to one of your characters. Obviously, wants it in the discard for when he plays this Tamatoa next turn, and wouldn't have been able to pop it, wouldn't have had enough ink to have done both. So just utilising that 1 final ink to get rid of that Fortisphere. I'm pretty sure it costs 1 to use it, right? Or am I talking nonsense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
It costs 1, and you have to pay to give a character bodyguard.
Yeah,
so
and that's how you
there is
put
a
it in
cost
the discard.
with that.
So that's
Absolutely, and I
worth
think that would be a good fix to Popsicle as well.
Yes,
You had to,
yes,
more
it
additional
would.
cost
Shout out
to
to the two
make it uninkable or
Scrooges.
something.
Shout out to the SLTC podcast on YouTube. Lots of great content, but the two Scrooges is one of my favourite new pieces of Lorcana content. Shout out to them. You should absolutely check them out. High level
I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Boomy. I'm a huge fan of Dave Attack for 2. I'm a huge fan of Shadows because these guys are really, really good at this game, and they're quiet. They don't really talk too much. They don't really do too much content. They're just out there doing their thing and just really making some impact on the game. I really adore all of those players in this community, and I can't say much more. I can't say anything bad about them at all. I really love their content as well.
That's all the
100%.
community. Like, look, Lorcana community is pretty goated. I'm not gonna lie. We're not about our issues, but we are pretty goated. But yeah, Artabax getting down that Tamatoa with the 6 ink available, and then putting a Porpoise on the forward sphere in hand. It's just a choice. Do you ink one and play the other, or have we already passed and we're just holding both? I think it is Artabax's turn. So I think he's just debating if he holds both of these, because you still have to respect that we're going into B prep turn, right? Federico's at 6 ink, and Artabax has nothing else, like no other characters to put on board after a B prep. Again, there's no B prep in hand, but Artabax does not know that and has to respect it to a degree. In game 1, we saw a B prep go to the bottom of the deck pretty early, so he was able to eliminate one of the 2 in the deck, but you have to respect it. I do think we've passed now, the way Federico... Yeah, we definitely passed. Federico's going to choose to pay 2 for the vision of the future, I dare say. We're going to take a look at the top 5 cards of the deck.
Let's see what we can get. We need a prep here, and we need Artabax to not hit a Peak Games referee, as you are digging, and you just did not get to it at all.
How far
it looks like...
So, like, you
it could be more dig.
You can sing it with Medusa this turn. It ramps us up. We may want to keep Medusa. I'm not sure. How far ago does look okay here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We can still ink for turn. So we've got 5 ink total to play with. 4 of it on board, but we can still ink for turn. What else are you going to do here? We have no
I think since you're kind of down on tempo anyway, I would just take a turn off, get the how far I'll go, get the coil set up, and just try to hope. I will continue to hold out hope. I think he might be trying to go for this shark, but I don't think you have enough ink to deploy the shark this turn. I could be incorrect. I can't quite see. But you do have an opportunity here to set up the coil this turn. Yep. Get the how far I'll go, ramp into the Sisu next turn, and maybe you can start clearing some of these characters, and then Sisu can come down and hopefully for you stun the board just a little bit for you to turn the tides back.
It sounds good in theory until you look at these 3 bodies all with strength of 3, 3, and Tamatoa's 4, right? It's 4, 5. Yeah, so your coil, as obviously you're going to get rid of the Tamatoa. If you can ink lower 2 with the coil and then play big Sisu, then at least you get rid of the big Tamatoa. But Grandma Tala and Bell are still sitting there. But again, you might just have to do it just to like keep yourself in this game.
And they'll quest, but don't forget that Madame Medusa's got some body too. She's got stats. That 4/4 can go a long way, and you'll be able to at least clear those through challenging, and then you'll have this Sisu up as well that next turn and come back in and continue to challenge down as well. And Artabax is still only holding 2 cards in hand. So I love the play. I think how far I'll go, take it down tempo right now, get the how far I'll go saying, see what you can draw, and then get that coil set up, and you might be able to turn this game around. It is not over. I've played enough Ruby Sapphire to get all the way up to 19 and a half sometimes, and still can't seem to close the door on them. And if the game's not over until they're at 20. This deck is very resilient in that way, especially when they get into this late game deep water situation.
Interesting couple of draws there. The Porpoisicle obviously puts our Flavisham online, but this mini Sisu is... We've got a coil in hand. We still have 4 ink to play with, but we can also ink for turn. So it's a total of 5 ink to play with. So we could also... We could take the Porp, and we could play the Porp ink and then play Flavisham, but I think the Sisu is super valuable in being able to help you with this
and it sets up the shift as well. This is also...
So we are going to prioritise that Sisu. I think coil has to come down now this turn then. Yeah, I think that's the way he's thinking. We're going to pay 2. Down comes that coil. That's pretty good.
And we get ink, and this could
And we can
remove
play it
one of
this
those
turn.
3-cost characters right now.
Nice. It's going to be Tala.
And then Sisu can come in. Oh, man.
Nice. This is a nice turn.
This is looking...
I like it.
Oh, man. It's looking like comeback time. And we also got that ability to shift now. So this is looking problematic as we get into the McDuck Manor. So you have 2 more rips here with these 2 can't rip items right now. And this could be where the motion can start to turn around. Artabax has to kind of feel what's happening as Zeus gets in. Ooh, is Zeus good enough?
That's not bad. Like, you don't deny a Sisu just paid for 8, but you could deny a shift, although Zeusing a Sisu doesn't sound great. The Medusa, obviously, with that 4 body is a little bit annoying. Still not really a safe time to play this mana, though, right? With a Medusa and with 2 bodies on board. And I don't think we've seen any Mauis yet. He may have inked 1, but there are 3 in the deck, so that's something else that's got to be respected. So if I'm Artabax, this doesn't feel like a safe mana turn.
No.
Unless you're in that, okay, well, if I play it here and you don't have Maui, I just win the race. Like, that, it's just a sort of go for game, right?
And your opponent did also, which does feel bad playing against this Ruby Sapphire deck. Your opponent did just do visions. They did just do how far I'll go. If you Zeus and then they be prepared, you feel terrible. That is a horrible, horrible feeling. And I'm sure you've been on the other side of that. So maybe Artabax is thinking, taking my plus value in a challenge here onto the Medusa, just clearing it off, and then you're getting some value there and holding on to the Zeus. I don't hate this play at all. I love this play. As a matter of fact, I think this is the way to go. And we are going to set up the manner now. And is this good enough? And we're going to heal as well. Look at this.
To be fair, even Maui plus the Sisu doesn't deal with the mana. The Medusa was what was threatening there, but getting rid of the Medusa means nothing short of double Maui, which isn't available because we're only at 8 ink. So yeah, this McDuck mana is going to get at least 2 lore. Not bad at all. I wondered if Lawrence would be the play there, but it looks like we used all our ink. We utilize your ink the best you can, right? If you've got 4 to use it as opposed to your 3-drop. And again, a pretty safe position when there's only a Sisu on the board. Yeah, this looks pretty good. So
now the decision goes back to Federico now, as Artabax was able to negotiate that quite well, maintaining a nice board position, clearing, getting a nice plus value with the challenge there. So you could, in theory, go ahead and rip this Visions of the Future, search for something, maybe even, I don't know, another item to pop with this Flaversham now, or you can just go for the Sisu ink and then Sisu, just ink the Vision and just
that's what
play
I mean.
Sisu and get rid of one of these characters now.
This is where Coil becomes a bit of a double-edged sword, because obviously you want to ink so that you can lower this Tamatoa's strength for the Sisu, but Vision and Flaversham are both super good cards.
So
it is a hard decision to make. Don't get me wrong. Like Artabax is at 11 lore. We'll be going to 13. We'll be going to 16 next turn if Federico doesn't interact with this board at all. We're going to play Vision of the Future for 2 ink, so we've got 6 ink left. So Big Sisu's still an option through shifting. We find another Vision, how far, a Brawl,
and the Hideaway. He grabs that immediately.
Huge. That is huge. The one copy of Hideaway was inked in game 2, and I said that was something that Artabax would have had to have bared in mind. Haven't seen it yet this game, and it comes up now at a really relevant point, JDZ.
He could. Is there a world? No, he can't do that. I was thinking he could sing the How Far I'll Go with the shifted Sisu, but that won't get the value from your coil. And now you don't have enough ink to play the coil and the Sisu right now. You could hide away. Keep the high, or you can keep the Brawl. Maybe Brawl is another option that you can hang on to. So many decisions, man, and this is the tough spot. These are the moments where champions are made in these types of scenarios, man, because this is hard mode engaged. Like, what do you do? There are so many things going through Federico's mind. There are so many things going through Artabax's mind, and you can mess up. And it's all going to come down to who bends first. I hate saying the word misplay, but who cracks first is what this game's going to come down to, because this is knotted up. This is not someone is like way out front. I know the lore is 0 to 11, but it is still very, very close. And whoever falters from this moment is going to be the one that is going to go down here. As Federico is really thinking about it long and hard on this Vision.
It's a big decision, and again, like Federico only being at 0 lore, like red-blue decks with Dime, we wouldn't care. We know how quickly they can go from like 0 to 20 just with a big enough item pile, but that's not an option in this deck. So a lot of catching up still to be done, and this is a huge decision. I think I'm taking Hideaway because I think we do have, like, while we've got the Sisu and a Coil on board, we do have other ways to deal with these bodies, but I don't know how you're dealing with this mana if you don't take Hideaway, like, we can shift the big Sisu. Although we could ink the Flavisham, lower Tamatoa's strength by 2, shift big Sisu. That gets rid of the Tamatoa from the ability. Then we challenge for 5 into the mana. The Bell is still sitting there. She can do.
Now, I would honestly, if you keep the Hideaway, I just bring out the Sisu and I just challenge the Bell. I banish the Tamatoa, challenge the Bell. He gains a 2, and then I'll Hideaway next turn and get rid of it. And now you got an even board. You have more cards. Or no, the cards you'll be top decking though. That feels quite miserable as well. So it'll be really struggle spot. And you have the Zeus there that's lined up to take down whatever threatening character you have. So I think you might have to challenge that Bell if you go that route. I'm not sure because he could storm, he can do whatever, and now he still has his character set up on the board.
That's what I mean. But like that's the decision to be made, right? Do you deal with the Bell and have no, like, which is obviously taking away a Singer and some lore, but then you're putting no damage on the mana. And then if they have Zeus, which Artabax does, you've got nothing to answer this mana, which is why I feel like my thought trail would be to prioritize.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because with this hand, like if you play Sisu, banish the Tamatoa with the ability, challenge the Bell. Again, all they need is a Storm. Your Sisu's gone. All you've got left is a Flavisham, and this mana is going to tick away for at least another couple of turns. But we'll see what Federico wants to do. But yeah,
and
this
on top
is
of that too, like you said,
tricky turn.
Like you said earlier, that Hideaway is the only copy you have. And if you send it to the bottom of the deck, you're never going to see it again. And that's going to be so troublesome. So I think it's almost like you have to take it and then hope for the best. You get the Hideaway now. You'll shift your Sisu. You'll make your play. You'll go ahead and get rid of the mana next turn. And then you'll just have to play this top deck game. I think, but you're going to have to ink your Hiram, which is just miserable. That does not feel good.
And this is one of those turns as well, like worth kind of like, you know, I would call it like Lorcana etiquette. Both these players have had a fantastic pace of play. No one's been stalling. No one's been taking too long. They both know what they're doing. They both know this is an important turn. Okay, so Federico's got these 5 cards to look at, and it's going to decide the matchup, most likely. So Federico taking his time here, and Artabax clearly having no issue with that. Again, I think when you play a game of Lorcana, you build up that sort of trust, respect with your opponent. Like, if you see that you're both keeping good pace of play, and, like, only not stalling, that's the wrong word, but taking longer when it seems more reasonable to do so, then I think it's just a nice... noteworthy to mention, hey, I get this is an important turn. And we do see exactly what we said. We're going to ink that Flavisham, lower the strength of the Tamatoa. Down comes the Sisu, and does take your line, JDZ, of going into the Bell, leaving no damage on this mana. Hey, it's still a great turn.
I love that play. I think that's what you had to do. It does feel very vulnerable, and you do put yourself in a top deck situation.
We've got the Hideaway
having
here,
more,
right?
your opponent having more cards. I mean, you have the Hideaway in your hand, but that Hideaway is going to take care of this mana. If Artabax were to get into a second mana right there, and then clear this Sisu, the game is just over. So it is a gamble, and you have to risk it for the biscuit sometimes. Another thing that we say here in the States, you have to go for it. You have to, I mean, it's about science, it's about math, it's about statistics, it's about odds, but also you got to have gut feeling, and you got to just risk it. You got to play the numbers. The numbers can only get you so far, but the vibes have to carry you the rest of the way. And if another mana were to slam here, it could be troublesome. Lawrence coming down, popping this coil could also be troublesome. I think maybe forcing Artabax to hardcast this Zeus here could be troublesome. I don't know. This is a very, very intricate position, as we will go ahead and slam the Benja down. We'll get rid of that Sapphire coil.
Makes sense. That coil is something to be respected when it comes to more Sisu coming down. Plus Federico at 0 lore. I don't think Artabax minds if this Sisu quests once and then is dealt with by something else. Of course, the Benja could do that. Also quest for 2 itself, but we also want to keep... Artabax doesn't know that Federico has the Hideaway, so he also wants to try and keep him off his mana, but that is the one card in Federico's hand. But that coil being gone also means that Flavisham is no longer an out to get Federico back into this game, which is quite bad.
And he puts out the big body bands. The Lawrence is down himself, and the Pirate's Life is going to be the draw for turn. So
it's not great.
That's probably not what you wanted to see. That's not what you wanted to see. It's a part of it, though. It's a card. It is a card. That is not the card you wanted to see. That is not the card you wanted to see.
There are worse things to draw.
Fantastic there.
There are worse things to draw. Like, maybe it buys us that one more turn. Like, so it's not awful, but yeah, we wanted that, a shark. We wanted a how far I'll go.
Happy as a clam or something there as well.
A Maui even, or even just a porp, an item to make Flavisham an out to draw you more cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
'cause this
Sisu is just going to sit there, I think. Yeah, no point questing there and just giving it up. It's not worth the free lore. Oh, and there is the storm.
Look at that. Oh, that feels bad. The wind is out of the sails, and he gets into another manor. Oh my goodness, in a manner of speaking, as we got heavy questing power being distributed of. Oh my goodness, we're going in for 4, and then we can set up this manor next turn if you felt so inclined. And this game is just absolutely over as the popsicle.
Oh, we do find a
come
popsicle. Flavisham? I don't think it matters, but Flavisham?
Is it?
Okay,
it's a sale. We can play it. Okay.
Flavisham?
We're chaining.
Flavisham?
We'll pay 2.
We can't play B-Prep anymore.
What is it? It's the shark. Can you play it?
We needed it. We needed it a couple of. We can play it. Yeah, we can play it.
You've got enough ink, but you have that Zeus.
Yeah, like it's too late. We spoke earlier of the ancient scriptures that said that Artabax will turn his back on EA Tempo and become a god himself, striking down that Maui shark, getting out of here and securing a 2-1 victory. I'm pretty sure they are scooping up here, right? Yeah, it's not quite over, but it's
a series of cards. And
is that let it go? Glare is not my friend. There we go, and Artabax takes it 2-1. GG's to both of our players. A huge shout out to Artabax and Federico. JDZ, but before the interview, I need to run to the loo, talk to the people.
Oh my goodness. He's going to the loo. Okay, I might need to go to the loo as well because that just absolutely rocked my socks. What a incredible match. I thought these players did a fantastic job demonstrating their Lorcana questing ability as we saw. These are the things that we tune in for, and this is what I want to see. Artabax was able to negotiate the treacherous obstacles of the red-blue. We did see Federico stumble there in that game number 3. The markers were not hit. You didn't get the cards you needed. You came out of the gate very slow, and Artabax came out storming ahead and was able to push that thing all the way to the limit. Those Smees are very, very strong in this matchup. So if you're having trouble playing against Ruby Sapphire, or if you are playing Ruby Sapphire, maybe you could take some of these notes back to your local game store and see your tournaments and see what these players are doing and try to implement some of those decisions that they made. And understand, just showing that patience, holding on to that Zeus there in that late game actually showed up pretty strong. You know, he could have played that Zeus way earlier on for a lower value, but reserving your cards and playing to your outs, I think, is an incredible skill that these players do demonstrate at the highest possible level. What a great match, man. What a great match. There were some times where I thought that Federico was going to be able to drag this thing back and get to a nice, comfortable position and play that Ruby Sapphire game, but he was not. He was thwarted, and he wasn't able to do it. So I still enjoyed it. I had a great time, and these players played outstanding. Shout out to both of them, taking nothing away from either one.
100%. Yeah, thanks for covering me there, buddy. Yeah, shout out to the players. If they are waiting for us for the interview, which normally they are, I don't want to leave them hanging too long.
No, I think they were having some tech issues. They're working it back in. Yo, there he is.
Is that a wild Artabax I hear?
That's a wild Artabax.
Let's go! Congratulations on your win, Artabax. Well played.
Thank you.
And is Federico here as well? Are you here, mate? Not quite yet. It seems. That's fine.
I think he's with the phone in, so maybe he has some tech.
Okay. There he is. Ciao, bella. Ciao, ragazzi. Ciao tutti.
Right, first of all, Federico, I got a bone to pick with you. You didn't play Be Prepared. I did not get to do the thing. What have you got to say for yourself?
Oh, yeah. I was actually hoping to draw something back to back.
I bet, we were saying, I bet he wants one right now. We'll start off with you, Federico, if that's all right. I'm sure Artabax won't mind chilling for a couple of minutes. First of all, I just want to say GG's. Thank you for the game. Thank you for participating in this event. Again, it's great to have you here, top 16 at Bochum and the DLC Birmingham champion. Also with Ruby Sapphire, so I know this is a deck you know well. You made no changes to your list whatsoever. It is the right of the players to make changes between rounds. You've opted for the exact same 60. Are you still happy with this 60? We'll talk about this match in just a moment, but what led your decision to keep the same list? Are you just that confident in it?
Yeah, I actually really enjoy this deck list in particular. Like in real life, I made a few changes, trying to test something else out. But I was feeling pretty confident with the list, especially after, the round 1, which worked perfectly.
Yeah.
This round, like I'm pretty sure the die roll is important in this
Yes.
specific matchup as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And the curve that blue steel sometimes can have is really pressing, especially if you don't have all the right answers to the board. You know, Manner is a card. He's playing like a really cool list as well. You know, with the banjos, so can really hurt this version. Even if I'm pretty sure I was like a little bit more favored, like maybe 60-40, 55-45. But yeah, so props to him, to Arta, and yeah, I feel like this version could still like do its job basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you know, even this format, like red blue is still one of the best decks so far, if not the best one. But you know, trying to figure something else out. But I'm pretty sure I will stick to these colors.
No, absolutely. And again, you've played them before and found success with them. I know JDZ is keen to jump in, and we'll jump to you in just a second. But just one thing I will say, just off of what you've just said, Federico, play draw disparity. We were talking about that a bit before the match in our pre-deck review commentary. A couple of really important lines, and we saw examples of it in this matchup, such as the Benja being able to come down to block a coil before you can play the small Sisu, or to even just get rid of the one-cost item and deny a Flavisham. We saw that in game 3. Artabax being on the play was able to get rid of your Portugal before you were able to deal with it. So yeah, I think Benja and Sisu plus Coil in particular are curves that are so play draw dependent. Do you get the chance to do the thing before your opponent can interfere with it or not? And I think we did see it coming down to that. There is one turn I'd like to ask you about, Federico, before I let JDZ ask you any questions that you might have. It was game 1, and Artabax had a McDuck Manor on board, a couple of characters, I think it was a Bell and a Smee. You had 2 Mauis in hand, and you had a Coil on board, and you chose to ink 1 Maui, which you needed to ink because you were challenging into a character. But you inked a Maui, played Maui, and I think went into the Lawrence, which you would -2 from the Coil. I think that was how you did it. You inked a Maui, -2 the Coil, play another Maui, then that Maui takes out Lawrence, only takes 2 damage, so a Storm the Rage on can't deal with the Maui. But my concern was, I thought you might have gone into the McDuck Manor, because my thought trail was, okay, well, if you play the Maui and go into the Manor, Artabax has to either have Zeus or 2 for 1 himself into my Maui to get rid of this one, whereas you chose to ink 1 Maui, then play another, it went into a character. Was that just my thought trail? Was that you thinking, okay, I can either play to not lose or I can play to win? Can you remember that turn and tell me anything you can remember about it?
So yeah, I like not really remember that term, but I remember like I was thinking about, you know, trading the board or going for the manor. But like the only problem for going to the manor is that if he would have had Zeus, like it was, I'm not gonna say it's game over, but like most of the time, because get rid of the Zeus, get rid of the Maui, so the manor still going strong, and it still got full board of I actually wanted to take care of. I wanted to keep the, you know, the little Sisu, because if you wouldn't have gone for the Popsicle on the Smee, you could have ended the trade, and worst case, I could have helped me with singing the Pirate's Life. But like in that spot, I don't know, I was already feeling behind. I was actually hoping he didn't go for the manor. But like what you just said, it was an option as well. But you know, I feel like because one play loses from Zeus, and one play loses from like another Storm.
Makes sense. That's what we said at the time, right? I was like, this would have been the line I'd have taken, but I feel like Federico's identified like, hey, I can do that and it will buy me a turn, but I'm probably still losing in the long run. Whereas if I do this, I make them have it, right? Put yourself in the best position to win the game. But a fantastic showing again. JDZ, please, what would you like to ask Federico?
Oh no, I just want to thank you, Federico, for playing for one, and also for fixing those test cards, man. You came out and they were very clear. We could tell what it was. I enjoyed that a lot. And I really enjoyed the performance as well.
I actually bought them, but still didn't arrive. So
Okay.
For the next round, I'll
You'll
go.
have them.
You got the real ones. You got the real ones now. But can you just talk about that game 3 just real quick? I know you already kind of went over. We're gonna get to the Bear Father here in just a moment. But can you just talk about how it felt? You came out of the gate super slow in that game number 3. You didn't hit some of your markers. You didn't get the draw. You didn't get, and you get the Grandma Tile up there on 4 just to get strength. Can you just talk about how that felt and what you tried to do to try to overcome from that? And also just talk about that hideaway decision on the Vision of the Future. What your thought was? You talked there for a little bit of time.
So basically, like game 3 was like my curve potentially was like Ramatala into Maui to Medusa, which is like a good curve going second, especially. But you know, the bells miss me, and on top of that, the strength on Tala really hurts because I cannot trade this me anymore. I cannot think how far if I draw it, and now Maui has to trade as me and goes, you know, under the radar of the storm.
Yeah.
So it was really, really bad for me. Then like Medusa was fine, but I knew like he had Tamatoa because obviously he used the 40 sphere to just put it in the graveyard, he had to join in and then go for Tamatoa. But at that point, I didn't have something to poppy with Coil, if I remember correctly, and that coil was stuck in my hand for a lot of time, and I couldn't really make the best out of it because the previous turns were like already done, Kalamawi and Medusa, and at that point, like for the last turn, I was like, probably not the last turn, but the previous one. I could have played differently. I had to check it back, the VOD, because it was a really tricky one with the coil, how far, vision, all in the same turn. And then on the last turn, I wanted to go Ink Sisu, but then I draw vision, and I still can do vision plus Ink Sisu. But then I see Hideaway, and at that point, like I was like a little bit, not confused, but like I was deciding what to do, and I was like, okay, I'm just going.
Turn. It was very important that turn.
Yeah,
really.
I'm just going all in, especially because like if he has a Benja, my harem is dead. But at the same time, like I probably should have kept it in my hand because at that point I wasn't in a top deck. So I was like, just hope he breaks, and then I have to draw like obstacle into something else.
Into Flavisher, we were talking through those lines, and like you just had to high roll from that point onwards. But we were also saying,
like I was like, okay, just gonna high roll out and see what happens.
And we highlight that turn as well because, like, both of you, like, you're experienced players. You've got super good pace of play. But Artabax, I'm sure you understood that whatever the 5 cards he was looking off of vision there, I'm sure you understood that was like a game-changing turn. So gave him the space to make that turn, right? But yeah, game 3 didn't look great for you, Federico. We were kind of cringing at the hand. We were like, okay, we got turn 2 ramp, but that's about it. Unfortunate draws, but still a masterclass in playing to your outs. And I'm super excited for your future, Federico. Of course, thank you for being in this tournament. We'll look forward to seeing your.
Oh, thank you guys for inviting me.
Any shout outs of your own? Any thank yous or anything you'd like to do before we talk to the bear? Federico?
Sorry, I just missed the last.
Just any shout out.
Went up.
Just any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give to anyone.
Oh, I'm just gonna shout out to all the Italian, guys that supported me throughout this really cool tournament. Shout out to Pavel. Shout out to all of you guys for hosting and commenting. Really appreciate the work you're doing for the tournament, and shout out lastly, of course, to Artabax. Best of luck for the following rounds.
Absolutely. And Federico, it's not over for you. This is double elimination. So this could be the rematch of the finals. You could get your revenge. So you got a lot more to go, man. So just keep rocking and rolling. I'm excited to see what you do in the following rounds, man. Great performance.
Yeah. And Federico, before you go, I have to ask one last question. What's be prepared in Italian?
Oh, that's a nice question. Wait. I cannot remember.
How do you
Wait,
not know that? How do you not-
wait.
We will wait. We will wait. I've put him on the spot here.
Oh no.
This is
I
This
won't
is pretty
start talking till
embarrassing.
you find that, please. I won't start answering any questions till we know what people.
You gotta
This
hurry. You gotta
is-
hurry up, Federico. You got him on. You got
It
him
was
on.
all going
Like,
so well,
I-
and I sabotaged it myself.
I
Or
could
any-
just
like-
Google it.
I got it in like fun fact. I got my versions in Italian, not in Italian, but English,
Okay.
German, French, and the Italian one is missing. Oh my
I
god!
know,
wait.
I know German.
What
That's
what is-
Zeitbereit. I know German. What's Italian?
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't know.
Wait.
We'll
No.
find out eventually. But nonetheless,
Yeah, with
We'll get
next
there.
We'll get some
round,
other
I
Italians
will-
in the real Italians. Get in the chat and let us know what it means. Federico.
Sarore. Sarore is Italian.
Sarore.
or something.
Oh, Sarore. I'll be
Yeah.
king.
Sarore.
that means-
Probably
I
butchered the pronunciation.
remember Baker where you.
I was going to do it in Law League, wasn't it? Wasn't I? But I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
There we go. We got there in the end. Me embarrassing Federico at the end. Nonetheless, Federico,
Yeah,
thanks so
exactly.
much. Thanks so much for joining us, mate. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
We'll
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing you in the next round, my guy.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye, guys. Until
Bye,
the next
buddy.
one.
Take
All
it
right.
easy, my friend.
Bye-bye.
What a
Bye-bye.
legend.
Thank you.
The
Bye-bye.
DLC Birmingham champion, my guys. And now over to the winner of this match, the mighty all-father of EA Tempo, Artabax. How you feeling after that victory, my guy?
Yeah, really good. I think it also was. No, I don't want to say it was lucky, but it's not the matchup I wanted to face with this list exactly.
Sure, yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, I know that I went on the play. I'm quite favored,
Yes.
but on the draw it's really hard. And yeah, I have two main ways to win, and that's either I pressure him early, what I was able to do in game 1 on 3, and then he runs out of cards, or sometimes I can outvalue him if he doesn't draw all two, 3 popsicles, then it's kind of possible because I have more popsicles, and but that's very rare. But yeah, game 1 and 3 it was exactly how I wanted the game to go, and yeah, it was a bit fortunate because I had a good curve and but to be fair, his curve was not too bad as well. I mean, Kama into Maui into Medusa is exactly what he wants to see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was able to pressure him, and then he had to react, and that's the way I wanted it to go. Then he has to ink his high realms and stuff just to not lose. And then he runs out of cards sometimes.
Absolutely.
And that was game went exactly how I wanted it to go.
I agree. I thought, and we were in all some of the play that you were making. It was very heads up and switched on, as I say, the master of the mid range, as I'm starting to call you. Shout out to Key Issues Garrett. He coined that name. But can you just talk about before this match started, you switched your deck, and I mentioned in the pregame show, I bet you switched this deck to play against some steel, which you had a high likelihood to face. You paired up with the only Ruby Sapphire that you had the potential to face. Can you talk about how that felt, seeing that Federico is going to be your opponent with the deck that you had submitted for this next round?
Yeah, I was crying, of course. Yeah, not crying, but I really didn't. Yeah, it was a very low chance that I faced him, and exactly that's what happened. Because the version I played before, I felt quite favored with the Calhouns and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, every character from me got a bit worse against him, and then it sums up like. It's a worse matchup now, and then his version also. I really like his version.
Mm-hmm.
He plays everything to destroy aggressive strategies. Everything. I mean, he's not playing any Tamatoa dime stuff. What I really don't care about. He's just playing all the Sisus, all the Sisus, all the Pirate's Life, all the things that really hurt aggressive strategies. And so I playtested against his list, and I felt not very good because his list is just very good into me. And except the shark is probably I would probably cut them. I don't know, maybe he comes to the same conclusion because they don't live very long. But on the other hand, they are good in the mirror most of the time, and not easy to remove for other CISO decks. So, yeah, I can still see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I personally did enjoy the matchup, but can you just talk about this deck? Why do you think it's so good against the steel matchup? We got the Mickey in there, we got the brooms in there, and in your testing, have you ever pulled off a Mickey broom combination with that synergy that they have?
Yeah, has that
Has
one
that ever
damage
come
ever
up?
happened and mattered?
People really overreact to the Mickey stuff. I mean, the problem is just one thing, that you need to play a 1-drop that survives Storm,
Mm-hmm.
and there are not many options, to be honest. Mickey is nearly the only one. You can play 1/3s as well, and I really like to in open decklist to have the possibility to make some powerful things. And Mickey Shift can sometimes win you the game in mirror matches, where you shift and then Zeus on turn 3, and then next turn you can slam a mana, and the tempo gain is insane by that. So that's but it's not a main game plan or something. And the brooms were just there because it's the best option against green steel, and I was afraid a bit of Kurt.
Of Kurt. Yeah,
And,
I'm exactly
and-
Kurt.
Not mainly Kurt, but in every other matchup. Most of the time, I hated Calhoun, right? Because I often needed to ink my Smee and played Calhoun.
Right.
Even in that matchup, for example, if I play on turn 2 or something, if I need to ink my Smee and play Calhoun, it really hurts. You need to play the 2 quester there, and that's why I thought I just play something inkable, and then the broom is really, really, really good. That he can survive also Storm, and you want to have it against Diablo. Against Green Steel, you really need a game plan against that. You need some options to deal with the Diablos, because it's very hard to remove them for our deck.
Do you miss Cogsworth ever?
Absolutely.
Do you miss Cogsworth much?
No, I'm not very high on Cogsworth, to be honest. The problem is I really don't like him because he's so bad from behind. And I generally don't like cards that are bad from behind or really bad from behind. It's sometimes okay when you're ahead. In open decklist is, I don't want to say easy to play around, but easier to play around the Cogsworth trades. And Chen Pors, cards like that feel better role.
And the third Benger as well. Does that feel permanent? The
Yeah.
third Benger, it's feeling that strong.
Bencher is really only needed against blue red. In the mirror match or something, I really don't need a Bencher. So,
But
you need
you
to
fed,
bencher
but
the
you,
coils often.
but still, you went to 3.
Yeah, it's okay.
Like respecting
No,
how
I
good
went
it can be in that
I-
matchup, right? Oh no, sorry, you went to 2. Yeah, so,
No, I
sorry, I looked
I
at it
went
the
to
wrong way
3,
around for a
yeah.
moment. But still, 2 like is enough. Like red blue is enough of a problem that you need the 2. Just still feel that way, and it will stick that way. You think?
Yeah.
There we go. JDZ, anything else you want to ask of this?
I do got one question though.
while we've got him?
You had again, every time I see you play, I feel like I learn something and I get stronger, and it's definitely an asset to the community. Just to see how you're playing at such a high level. But I do have to ask, you had a lot of fans of your mat, the Artabax, as it's being called. Can you talk about the bear? Why does that bear have 2 ears on your mat? Because I know the bear typically has 1 ear missing. What's going on with that?
It's just that's true. That's missing here, but we didn't have another artwork for that, because mainly my bear has only 1 ear, because I have what's the English word for that?
Like a sponsor?
I have a sponsor beer, you can say, like a bear appeal for, because he how can I say, he got punished, or how you can say that in the not punished. He had a bad early life, and then he got rescued, and now he needs money to there's a forest where they
like a refuge where he lives.
Exactly. Where they
Got you.
raise up the rescue bears.
look
And
after
one of
them.
them is mine. Yeah,
Cute.
exactly. And
Cute.
then they need sponsors, and that's where, because it's my like a kind of
That's
my
super cute. Who knew that the lore
yeah,
was
yeah.
so endearing behind that? That's like, we were like, yeah, Big Bear, and it's this like beautiful, what makes me want to cry story. Absolutely. love it.
And I all 2 weeks most of the time I visit him, and then
That's
look
great.
how he is. Yeah.
That's super
Oh, nice,
cool, man.
nice,
That's
nice. That is
awesome.
really awesome, man. I love it. I love it.
Artabax, again, as we said to Federico, thank you so much for your time for this match, but for like participating in general. The people love you. Again, big fans of the
you.
Artacast on your channel, along with Lorcana deck lists. Any thank yous, any shout outs, any plugs that you would like to give, sir?
Yeah, mainly shout out to Lorcana deck lists and to my wife, because yeah, they are both awesome. My wife, because she helps me so much with my
Everything, with
metafine,
your everything, Artabax.
with my life, with me being Artabax. Yeah. And LD, just a great friend
hero.
of mine, and
a hero among us.
The co-host for my podcast. Yes.
Sure is.
And of course, my team shout out as well, TSR.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's a great team where I'm in right now since a month now. And
That's
great
cool.
testing group, great guys. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to be on the lookout for you in the 2025 competitive season. Then a new team on the block. I'm loving all these teams that are growing with this community. JDZ, it's good times. Artabax, unless JDZ, anything else you want to ask the man before we let him go? Let him go and wind down.
No, we'll let him go. Let him go celebrate. I just again want to reinforce how much I'm thankful that you participate in this. Again, your skill is unmatched in the mid range. You can't be touched, man. And you're in the winner's side. You're in the winner's finals, I believe, if I recall correctly. Looking at the bracket,
four are left, right?
Oh, okay. So
yeah,
you're in winner's semifinal. No, so you got
winner semifinal, I think.
Yeah, winner's semifinal. Okay, so you're still in a very, very good spot to
spot.
probably find yourself on that winner's side. So just keep your head down and keep chugging along. I'm excited to see what you're doing next round, and hopefully I can get another Artabax feature in the commentary booth, because I love to see you play.
Thank you so much. Really, both of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're a legend,
Okay,
Artabax.
have a good one.
Enjoy the rest of your day, my friend. Take care, sir.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Man,
what a privilege, JDZ. What a privilege to get to do such a thing and break down the minds of these great players, great human beings. Love it.
I'm telling you right now, I can't think of a better way to spend my time. I am so ecstatic that I'm able to be here in the booth, and I'm so ecstatic that you allow me to share this platform with you. The first time in the villain's lair, I feel the villainous taking over me. I feel a little bit evil myself.
I nicked your wallet.
I do. I feel the presence. I do feel it. You know, there's something here. So hopefully I'm not a stranger, and you allow me to come back.
No.
At some point in the future.
Okay, JDZ, I'm going to send you something later. Sign it. Don't read it. It's fine. Just sign it. Send it my way. And JDZ, I want your soul. Okay?
Wait, hold.
I want your soul, okay?
Can we talk a deal, okay?
I love the deal. I love a deal.
Can we put a lease on it or something? Because I need a little bit of my soul, just a little bit. I'll give you like a timeshare. We'll share the soul. How about that?
Well, I'll write the terms and conditions, and we'll get back to you.
Okay.
But your soul's going to be mine. I don't know why I've picked up the IC. I just think when you're wearing a suit, a wrestler championship belt looks good. And it's been a while since I was the reigning, defending, first ever set champion of the world. It's been a while since my last bit of success. Anyway, JDZ, are you going to go live, mate? Are you going to go live?
I am. I think I can go live. I'll chat for a little bit.
Do that right now.
I can go live. I will hit the button right now. I'll hit the button. Let's do it. I'm gonna hit the button.
And send me the link. I'm sure a lot of people will get a notification and be able to find it themselves. But send me the link right now if you can.
Okay.
And I'll put it in the chat and see if we can send everyone your way. But as you're doing that, I want to give a huge thank you to everybody watching. We've got 228 people in chat. Even now, like half an hour after the game's finished and we're just chatting to the players, still so many people here. Huge thank you. I don't get to do too many of these. I can't do too many live streams with my life situation being what it is. But whenever I can do one, I love to take the opportunity, especially for these for the LC3. It's a pleasure to be joined by you, JDZ, again, everything I said at the beginning, I think you're absolutely smashing it, mate. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be a bigger star than you already are, and it was great for me to feel a bit of that light coming off of you today. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Shout out to Pavel and the entire team. Shout out to Judge Phil, all of the players. We are on a 5-minute delay, so yeah, that's pretty much it from me, man. Like, great success.
Absolutely.
Oh, and another thing, how's your ad viewing experience been, YouTube? Because not one person, I'm a cook, not one person has made a comment about ads. Why? Because YouTube is superior.
Hold up. Now that's a debate.
Get off my back about
we need to have. If you want to have that debate, we're on Twitch now. I just went live, and the Twitch can hear you. They can hear what you're saying in the future.
Twitch.
So people are going to have to we're live in the future. We're minute to minute here on Twitch, so they're going to hear you. And I think Twitch has its own thing. You can pay for some premium Twitch. Okay, you can still get ads on YouTube. They're just much shorter. Those Twitch ads are just obnoxious sometimes. Shout out to Twitch. Okay, shout out to Twitch. I'm not trying to besmirch Twitch out here for all the Twitch users out there. But I'm trying to tell you, these ads are very, very aggressive on Twitch. And
every time I go into a Twitch stream, it's like so many comments like, oh, here's another 4-minute ad. And I guarantee
4-minute ad.
People in my stream had a pretty good ad viewing experience. I put it on the lowest setting, so I'm taking money out of my pocket to make it a better experience for you. I'm just saying, it's for you. Trust me. Let me cook.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
absolutely. Get it off. But I thought the stream was great. I mean, your production value is going to make all of us try to get that much better villain. And we are on Twitch right now. Could you guys hear the villain? Can get us up to 1K, we'll do a double box giveaway right now. I will do the double box giveaway right now on the Twitch. We're on our way.
What boxes you got, Sam?
I have 2 boxes of the latest set. We got 2 boxes of Arcasia's Island here on JDZ Quest. Whenever I get 100 followers on Twitch, I do a box giveaway. I've done 9 boxes I've given away to the Twitch. I've given away 500, at least $600, $700 worth of cards so far. Just giving away Tamatoas. I've given away Scrooges. I've given away Enchanted cards. I've given away it all to the viewers out there as a thank you for coming in. If we can get to 1,000, we're going to do a double box giveaway as a huge major milestone. 1,000 followers on Twitch is exactly what I want to see. Today is Off Meta Monday, so on Twitch, we're going to be playing a little bit of off meta decks while we wait for the LCCCCC to commence, as we have Zan Syed versus Zach Bivens, a heavyweight bout coming on in. It's going to be a spectacle villain. Are you staying up for this? Are you going to be awake for this?
I will be awake for it. I will be in bed, but I will be awake.
Okay.
I will be awake to watch
No. We need you to get up. We need you to get active. We need you to stay loose, okay? We need you to be squirrely. We need you in that chat, and we need you to send the energy over to Bivens.
Yeah.
We need you in the chat. We need you swirling, okay? We need you getting sideways, getting loose. We need you sideways and getting loose.
I'm always getting loose, buddy. It's making me stop. That's what people have an issue with. Nonetheless, I have posted the link to JDZ's Twitch in my stream. So please go over and join the man who's going to keep you simmering before Wizard v Wonderland. The Wizard himself hosts that incredible game that I will 100% be checking out. Because we're on a 5-minute delay, I need to make sure I keep this stream running for an extra 5 minutes. But I'm going to sign out and concerning my stream. Right. I'm going to switch to this screen right here, which is a great cartoon of me sitting in my lair. It says starting soon, which is a lie, so I'm going to take away that bit. And yeah, I'll chill with you for a couple of minutes, JDZ. But yeah, everyone head over to my man. That's about it. I do appreciate it, man. Again, it was so much fun hanging out with you, seeing how it works from the pro side as we have a pro commentary. Because I'm trying to be where you are. There's no lie. Everybody knows my ambitions to be on the commentary scene. I really enjoy broadcast work, and you are among the best. And I had such a great time to be out there with you today. But today, it's Off Meta Monday, so we do have a little bit of time. This is going to be my stream for today until the LCCCC starts, and we're going to talk about what just happened
what we think is going to happen in the next round. But also, it is Monday, and as it is on Monday, in honor of the villain himself, I have my purple and I have my green on today. We're going to be playing some off meta Monday, and what else could be more off meta than green and purple? Amethyst and emerald has been down, down, down in a major way. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. But there is a deck list that I think is quite cool. And I'll pull that up right quick so you guys can see that. And it is going to be a deck. Shout out to the Artabax as well. We just have